women. I don't know. I don't know what the.
Yeah, sure. Do you want to quantify that then in terms of like toxic in
Do we have
general
to
towards
put like a number on it, or can we just say that whenever you have a situation in which, and it's not just women, it's everybody, but specifically women, you tend to have a problem with like just harassment campaigns, like attacking people. Like you specifically said in those logs, I attack Bad Bunny and Denim specifically because fuck them. Like that kind of shit. Like that's your mentality, and
Do you
think
think
we
that
should
I
just
only
talk.
attack Bad Bunny and Denos because fuck them? Is that one line where you're going to ignore the entire history that I have with these two people? Just so you know, you're wandering into
Hello,
like another
everyone.
huge minefield that you obviously don't know anything
Sorry,
about.
Really not that big of a mind.
hoping that our audio's good.
Sure. Well, which one do you want to tackle with first? You want to tackle Denos or do you want to tackle Bad
Do we
Bunny?
have
Hello,
to tackle
everyone.
either of them?
I just realized.
Well,
What-
you
what-
brought
what
them up.
context?
So
Welcome
let
to
me
the
just-
stream.
Pause
yeah?
quick. Pause quick.
Oh,
Okay.
wait.
Second cage match.
I feel like that's a good pause point. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the stream. How are y'all doing? Man, this lighting makes me look sickly. It's kind of gross, actually. Well, I mean... Unfortunately, my apartment lighting kind of sucks. Let me listen to the stream, make sure it was still good. How are y'all doing? These games are really quiet. Hold on. Oh, I did that on purpose. Nice. Okay, that's too loud now. There. Yeah, that's it can be a little quieter. Let's turn up. Oh, where's Blush? I'm just gonna trust that that one's more under control. Anyway, how are y'all doing? We'll just give people a little bit to come in, if anyone comes in. Yeah, that's it can be a little quieter. Yep, and it sounds like it's gonna be pretty decently mixed, so that's good. Yeah. How are y'all doing? Wow, that was dead air. Not good streaming. So what we're going to be doing tonight is gaming, obviously. But we're also going to be watching the legendary Destiny Dylan duo debate against Hinkle, Tinkle, and Infrared. Tinkle. Haas, Infrared Haas. Because, yeah, it's good memes, and I've been wanting to watch it for a while. I was going to watch it on my Twitch, and then Destiny got banned, and I'm pretty sure I can't watch... this is over there. I'm pretty sure I can't watch streamers that are banned from Twitch on Twitch. I think that's, like, actually, like, a bannable offense. So we're on YouTube doing it. Which, to be honest, it gives me an excuse to stream on other platforms, so... I'm all good with that. Let me make sure this is live chat, not top chat. Yeah. But yeah, so I think we're gonna jump kind of straight into it. I've I have my games open here. I have Destiny's video that I can just go back to. Yeah, let's get into it. I think we've waited long enough. Let's see, are we... Yes, everything should be there. Let's take a look.
I get two.
Burning
So
them.
you brought up two examples.
Burning them.
Okay,
He's burning
to
them.
impeach my character.
Burning them.
So I would
Just
like.
two
So
people, but we can
Okay,
do more
wait.
that you didn't try to fuck.
I don't know what the implication
Wait.
is, but
Test,
I know we
test.
all know the implication.
Fine.
So
I'm just
again,
saying,
again,
but
Test.
I think that specifically
One,
was
two.
because
Fine.
it was like relationshipy stuff. So
okay, I just
so
on a
that's a
macro
little personal.
level, I was excited to have this conversation because
Okay,
you always
there.
say like such
That's
broad,
better.
stupid shit about me on Twitter, and I thought it would be
That's
interesting
better.
to have
odd,
a
stupid thing I said about you on Twitter.
like the fact that I'd be a Republican next election cycle, like stupid shit like
Yeah, that
this,
was
right?
a joke. I'm sorry. We
Oh,
it
that
was
a joke.
just
Me
a
saying, you know, I
joke.
don't like them because fuck
I
them.
wouldn't be
That wasn't a
surprised.
joke.
Just a joke. Yeah, sorry. I was just testing the audio to make sure. I think we're good. And unfortunately, we're getting some dropped frames, but if it's somewhat under control, I'm cool with that. Unfortunately, the downsides of doing Mac streaming, laptop streaming no less. Let's go back to the subject of this video then. We got our Crush and Blush up so that we can idly farm them. Oh, I muted it. Why did I mute that? Let's pull this. But yeah, so this debate is a great meme, and apparently it's relevant because Destiny is, as we speak, I believe tomorrow he's going to be debating this in Texas. Or no, is it Tennessee or Nebraska or something? He's debating it live on a panel. So this is pertinent that we watch this, and also I've been wanting to watch it, and it's a great meme. Particularly, he has the body of Sid from Ice Age. Love that meme, and we'll see it. It's in my thumbnail. If you, my banger soy face thumbnail. If you have seen that, it's the fucking I photoshopped Steve's face on Sid from Ice Age. Sid talk. I think that's how Sid talks, right? He has like this weird little something like that. Ice Age. Sponsored stream. No, it's not. I just need to stay awake. A, for this, and B, so that I can continue to work after this stream. Because there's some stuff I probably should continue to do. Alright. Let's get in. The context is that they're debating the war on Ukraine in terms of like some very specific things, in terms of like the sovereignty of the nations, and like if it was justified to invade and things of that nature. That's kind of like the subject. I guess with that we can get straight into it, and I'll be sort of just interjecting the commentary. The first half of the debate is kind of like can be taken seriously, but then it gets off the rails after that, and it's a good meme. It's a meme. And then yeah, I'll be blushing in the background. Let's as I continue to set up any sort of context. Damn it, need more. Or need to remove something. Wow, it's taken so long to farm up this money. But yeah, I guess that's all the context we need. Let's go.
To support any of that there was Western
Dun,
backing to any of these
dun.
people, any of this was a false flag.
So here we go.
Everything you're going off of
Is our intro.
Conjecture. The testimony of one or two. I've got testimony in the United States of big
Shit, I actually
UFOs abducting people.
notice the audio is fucking off the rails already, and you'll see why. If anyone hasn't seen this.
Because I've already read the entire conversation. They don't admit
Shit.
They never said anything about hand-picking the new government. It wouldn't even make sense. Really? Yeah.
So yeah, here you can see the conspiracy angle is being addressed.
Wait, what? Because he didn't have the backing in Parliament for it.
The chair of Parliament. No. Why could he not become?
Claim that shit. Now this can farm.
Was handpicked by the United States.
Dun,
He was pushed by
dun.
a conversation about this guy saying he would be good when he's already the opposition leader is not evidence of him.
Okay, she wants a fruit basket. Here, here we go. That's the shit. That's why. Fucking Haas is like an actual caveman.
Believe it or not.
He doesn't have to disavow it. He just isn't making the affirmative claim. You convinced it's Bonnell. You little fuck.
So yeah, that's what we're in for.
Debating the war on Ukraine, something to that effect.
Something to that effect.
Over to Infra and Jackson, and
Something to that effect.
Right now, with Infra's and Jackson's opening statement, thanks for being with us. The floor is all yours, and at that point, you guys can pick up the ball and start running.
Let's see, you could probably turn this up.
Sound good?
Shut the fuck up.
Alright, I'll begin. And then
Stupid
Jackson,
fucking meme.
Are we time limited on these intros?
Here we go, turn this up just a hair.
minutes.
12 minute intros.
Yeah. 6 per person. Yeah.
Oh, per person. Yes, I want to buy that.
What's the opposite?
Trim it back a little bit.
Is that per team or per person?
12
Oh.
team. Yeah.
Okay. That's fine. It'll be fine.
She's odd.
I'll begin.
I-
So, when it comes to the
Wait, Haas. Slow down, Haas.
It was gonna take like 30
Just let him start now. We can pick up like halfway between them.
Destiny, can you ever get out a fucking statement and wear it with your fucking
Dude,
chest?
that wasn't even that kind of statement. What?
Screaming on the other end is almost impossible.
Well, yeah.
How am I
Every
mumbling?
little passive-aggressive bitch-made statement you
Bitch
make, everybody
made.
mumble your way fucking through it.
I
Why you
could
just say it,
definitely
wear it
afford
with your
these.
fucking chest, say it with your chest or shut the
How are you gonna talk
Hey,
to
wait,
me
can
about
you
your chest
guys
when you
go?
acted like such a conciliatory little bitch in
Oh,
real
yeah,
life to me?
oop.
Are you serious right now? How are you gonna act
Get
like
that.
Destiny, here's what I promise you, next time
Uh,
we meet in real life, it's not gonna go down that way.
Oh, okay.
I'll be at the Kill Stream in early April. I'll be in Austin or Texas or whatever at the end of April. I'm going to like 2 or 3 events next month.
Shit.
So if you wanna
Okay,
show
we
up,
can stop at the jobs. We don't really
go,
need.
go. I hope so. I hope it's not with your stream on. You know, begging me for
Jesus
viewership.
fuck that they're already going at it and we just started.
Got the most views I ever did, turning my fucking
Here I
back
go.
on your whole fucking
Here I
order.
go.
Okay.
3, 2, 1. Ready, set. Here I go with the cold open.
Wait, where does she want to go? Moonlight Stroll.
James.
Everybody, tonight we're debating. Everybody, tonight we're debating.
She looks
the
like
war
eerie
Ukraine, and
in
we're
the-
starting
in the
right
night.
now with Israel Jackson's opening statement. Thanks so much, gentlemen, for being with us. The floor is all yours.
Let's
Okay,
listen to
so
how
when
this
it
sounds
comes
right
to
now,
the
just to be
formation
safe.
of- this is the first context I want to establish. When it comes to the formation of military alliances, this actually
Oh, I
extends
should.
beyond the bounds of the
I love all these
sovereignty of
noises.
states' own territory. Countries have an obligation to
The
be
most
cognizant of
intelligent
the
Russia
geopolitical,
apologist
geographic,
from
and
Rose
historical and
Wrist. That's
civilizational
great.
realities that their own
Let's take a
sovereignty is
listen.
situated
Make sure
within.
that I sound
And
good.
this is specifically recognized by
Let's see.
organizations like the OSCE, according to which Ukraine being a member, according to its founding document at least, one country's security cannot be strengthened at the expense of the security of another state.
Yeah, it can be made.
What the
They
OSCE
can be made
establishes
slightly
is
louder.
that
I
it's
sound
not
alright
just
though,
that
so that's
states are
good.
just completely
At least I know
totally
my
free
voice
to
is coming
just
through
do
all
whatever
nice.
they want in terms of making security alliances and in
I can
terms
turn
of
this
how
up a
they
little bit.
construct their militaries and position themselves
It's probably about
geopolitically.
to
There's
hear.
a very delicate balance of power and security within Europe, and everyone
Maybe-
is committed
maybe about
to actually preserving
here.
long-term peace, which is what the OSCE is actually about. Has to be recognized. The fact
Let's
that
see
there needs to be
here.
a balance of security. There needs to be a security architecture. That
So they're
ensures
just going on with this
there's
massive.
a fair distribution of security across the continent. When this balance is tipped in one direction or the other,
Okay,
it creates a
right.
situation of instability and geopolitical uncertainty.
So-
and leads
so
to
this is
confusion
such a
ultimately
vague
leads to
gesture,
war
this-
and to conflict.
What is that music?
So one has to keep this in mind when one is bringing up the issue of
Is that on
sovereignty of
Destiny's
states.
end? Did he put that
States
there?
should have a right to self-determination, and states should have the right to be sovereign. But
I'm
they
a
should
cat.
also be cognizant of the geopolitical and geographic realities within which they reside.
Like,
so as to
I
not
don't even
create
know what the claim
circumstances
is
that
right
upset
now.
the balance of security
It's so
and security
boring.
architecture.
Like, it's such a.
So I'll give it to Jackson now.
Yeah, so the next point that I think is really important is
Oh,
to
right,
actually,
okay.
I would like
Oops, I
to,
forgot.
Hear Dylan and
I need
Destiny
12.
respond to this when they talk, is to address
Who
when did this
can-
conflict
what-
begin?
should I
or
stop?
if,
I guess I
you know,
could
war,
stop
when
this
did
one.
War began? The war began, and they refused to call it a war. The Ukrainian government refused to call it a war for 8 years because they wanted to have IMF loans, and you can't give IMF loans to a country that's at war. But the war began
Gift or no?
after the
It's
2014
fuck.
coup that took place
In here.
on the heels of the Maidan protest, which
Look at
began,
how
in
how
all
much time we're
honesty,
taking.
without U.S. backing. I mean, there was.
I guess
a
this one will
plurality
go
of
away
people
pretty
within,
soon, so.
Ukraine that were frustrated over the fact that there was not going to be EU membership for Ukraine.
Wait, what?
And well, I guess there was going to be a delay
Okay.
in the.
I don't know
decision.
who's
And
who's
those
the cat
protests
boy.
began, and then
That one.
eventually they decided that they were not going to take the unfair
Anyway,
deal that
we'll
the
just
EU
let them lay out their
offered them.
points. I won't be talking too
They
much
knew
about
that
them
these
until the
neoliberal
debate
policies that
goes
would be
underway.
inflicted upon them upon
Because that's what the debate's
EU,
for.
EU deal would have hurt them much more than opening up trade partnerships more with Russia would have helped them. So, upon these protests, the U.S. began to infiltrate the movement. U.S. politicians began, working with agencies on the ground, U.S. front agencies on the ground like the National Endowment for Democracy. Victoria Nuland even boasted about the fact that, they funneled $5 billion. We'll discuss the details of the U.S. involvement in the coup later on in the debate, I'm sure. But lots of money came in to these U.S. agencies on the ground to actually hijack the Maidan protests. Upon hijacking the Maidan protests, violence broke out.
That was edgy, but that doesn't actually make sense because I guess it does make sense. I don't know.
Played a part in surrounding the 2004 elections, which Yanukovych was also involved in. Initially reported that he won, though international.
Got to get that idle game tapping shit.
Claimed that these elections were marred with corruption and discrepancies and irregularities in the vote. The election was overturned then, and Yanukovych didn't see the presidency until his second run. But after being elected, during these Maidan protests, U.S.
It's my reaction.
They led a coup upon the democratically elected government.
I mean, this is all important context, the Yanukovych and all that.
Coup on the democratically elected government of Yanukovych. We saw the 8-year war begin, and that's the next point I want to make.
Oh yeah,
it's
this.
Insane to assume that
this apparently is like not true. Apparently,
there was shelling, there was fighting.
There was definitely. I mean, Putin's been eyeing Ukraine for a while. We know that.
Directly after the coup, thanks to the Western aligned.
At the very least, eyeing it.
Power. Now these Western aligned.
Correct me if I'm wrong.
Into power, have deep ties to the.
We can fact check things.
Far right, factions, radical factions within.
Oh, it actually works better in this game if you alternate like this.
Political apparatus. There's over 80 far right, military militias and.
I also you have the soy face of Paz.
Most notable include, of course, the Azov Battalion
in the thumbnail.
One of the primary forces that has been waging asymmetrical warfare upon.
Oh, but you have to get the timing like exact.
Who they themselves took votes to recognize their independence. Which
you have to
was
coordinate
not,
and make sure you don't double hit.
Granted by Russia or Ukraine or Western states for many years, though. Vladimir Putin did come out and say that he respected the legality, the outcome of the elections, but he didn't actually recognize them as independent states at the time, up until just this month.
Probably should have started with Max Payne, actually.
All in all, this conflict didn't begin this week. It began during the Maidan coup. Asymmetrical warfare was waged against the people of Donetsk and Luhansk. In the past 3 years of the conflict, which is all I have been able to find data for, maybe Dylan or Destiny can provide more evidence, but according to the United Nations...
And the problem is I'm not actually sure my stream can take it. Let's... I think we're going to play Max Payne for a moment. We can leave these games running, though. Let me just...
At the end of the day, Russia, was very, very restrained. They tried to engage in peace deals surrounding the Minsk Accord and bring peace to the region. Like it or not, think it's fair or not, he did do that for 8 years. And in that entire time, everything I just mentioned was taking place, and these Western-aligned leaders that controlled the government for different stretches of time over these over this period have made a continued effort to try and join NATO, which Vladimir Putin has continuously said, and I agree, would be a direct threat to their security.
But see, that's another contention point. Like a direct threat to their security. That's discussed later, and it's tenuous.
And politics. And second, before I kick it over to Destiny and Dylan for their opening, if you happen to have a question,
the TV turning on. We good?
Into the old live chat.
The old live chat.
Tonight are going to Worldwide Orphans, and you can also
probably needs to go up a bit.
Debate in the live chat to
there, that's probably good.
Thanks so much, Destiny and Dylan, for being with us. The floor is all yours for your openings as well.
So,
the problem is the audio is all over the place, even in this.
That the greatest
Here we go. Here's our boy.
the last century has been the collapse of the Soviet Union. I think if we look at the actions of Putin, not just in Ukraine, but in other countries and other states within Russia around the world, I think we can see that Putin's goal is to rebuild some sort of new body that resembles the lost Soviet Union. Whether that's going to be the Union state that includes Belarus, Russia, and perhaps some future Ukraine or not remains to be seen based on how well the Ukrainians can resist Russian aggression. But it seems pretty clear that Putin has a huge drive to rebuild what he sees as one of the, as I guess his fond memory of the Soviet Union. The idea that
video capture device.
In terms of individual claims, I guess we'll start going through the history. But I mean, almost everything you said is either half wrong or just completely wrong. The idea that Europe was offering them an unfair deal.
Here we
One of the
go.
biggest reasons why they required that EU deal was because Russia themselves began to put blockades on certain imports for Ukraine, just because they thought the president was looking towards the European Union for a deal. The idea that the Russian
Hopefully
deal was
we can
better
take
when
this
the European
and
deal
it
would
won't
just allow them
be
access to the markets, while the Russian
totally
deal was
broken.
an exclusive deal that would have forbade them from trading into other markets is hilarious.
We'll leave these on in the background,
the
though.
idea that this conflict began in 2014
These
is
games.
also just completely wrong. There have been foreign policy experts, I can find
Move
papers
this
back
back.
since 2010 claiming that Crimea was under threat of invasion from Russia, and it was invaded. Russia has been consistently working with disinformation.
There you go.
campaigns
See
on
RGR and
actual
Gordon
military
Ramsay
aid
pop
to
to the
places
front.
like Donbass or Crimea since at least 2010, if not earlier. There's been a
No,
long
good.
and
Okay.
rich history of
There we go.
corruption in Ukraine, whether we're talking
Let's
about
go.
people that used to actually be in the Soviet party that became leaders of Ukraine, or we're
It's on
talking
the guest
about
account.
people that more or less wanted to be Putin's
Let's go.
leaders later on, like
All this is
like,
important,
Yanukovych,
so
Yanukovych. I guess we'll get into the individual history of any of these particular things, but yeah, that's the idea right now today that
Let's
Russia
go.
is somehow justified in their aggression and their taking over of any of the Ukrainian territory, whether that's when they took over Crimea in 2014,
Lines.
whether that's the eastern territories that they're trying to take over now, or the rest of Ukraine that they're trying to take over. I think it's just absolutely absurd. I would echo something that Haas said in the very beginning of the debate, that one country's security cannot be increased.
Yeah,
at the
here we
expense of
go.
another.
Like,
That's
why-
a hilarious statement coming from somebody
Exactly.
trying to defend the neo-imperialism.
Meanwhile,
of
Russia's
the wannabe Soviet Union, and I'm curious how
Russia's
you
like
guys
trying
look
to
at
do all this
conversation
like
going forward.
neo-imperialism. Yeah.
Okay, so I guess the
Makes
best
no
thing to do
sense.
would be start with I guess
Very
I'll start in
selective.
2004, since I know more about like recent Ukrainian history. So the Orange Revolution, which I respect the Ukrainian
Very
people for taking
selective
power into their own
takes.
hands to stop
Here.
an election that
Wait.
was stolen.
Test
as
1
was
2
confirmed by
test
the
1
Ukrainian court
test
system in
test
2004.
1 2.
And you
Yeah,
may
that's
call it a
probably
coup,
about
or
right.
It was a coup of Viktor Yanukovych. What was
Just
failed
making
to
sure that
mention
the
is
mixing
after
is
the
consistent.
Ukrainian courts decided that there was large-scale fraud.
All right, let's
committed
see
on
which
behalf of
level I
Viktor
should
Yanukovych
focus
in
on.
2004 is that there was a revote, and after the revote was done, once international monitors were now involved in the situation, that's when Viktor Yanukovych lost the 2004 election. And so the Orange
Man, these
Revolution
12-minute
that is
intros are
usually,
pretty insane.
cited here as a coup.
Excuse
What
me.
is not mentioned is just like in the 2014 coup, there is an election after both of these
Alright.
instances. In 2004, there was a revote, and in 2014, after Viktor Yanukovych was impeached, he then fled the country, and there was another democratic election where somebody was democratically elected. There was
Yeah,
also
I
another
would hope there was a
election in
democratic
2019
election and a
where
Democrat-
Zelensky won with about
yeah.
73% of the vote.
Let's see,
I
score
respect
attack.
the Ukrainian people and taking the power in their own
Obviously,
hands to
these
take
are all
back their democracy in
bronze,
both
and we could
instances.
improve that.
I would also like to talk about, I know both of these people care about sovereignty a lot here.
Oh, wait, we didn't do
In
part
both
2 of
instances,
this
both
chapter.
In 2004
Okay.
and 2014, and before it, the Russian
Alright.
state has
Versus
meddled
global
in the
free
affairs
aim.
of Ukraine on multiple occasions, fomenting
Let's
corruption,
use,
directly getting involved in elections, and directly getting involved with Ukrainian politicians and basically sponsoring them.
Let's
on
do
behalf of the
classic. I
state.
think that's from
They
Max
have
Payne
gotten
2,
involved
right?
in the affairs of Ukraine,
Let's go.
and it's not that surprising that you're going to see protests against politicians like Viktor Yanukovych, and you're going to see the Orange Revolution in 2004 when a foreign state meddles.
By the
in
way, if
internal
audio
affairs of
ever
another
goes
state.
crazy
So
on
it's
my
strange
end,
for me to hear
it's
all
because
this
I
concern
don't pay for
about
sound
America,
source,
interfering
so-
in the internal affairs
which
of
allows
the
my-
Ukrainian
which allows me to
government in
control all my
2014,
audio.
When there was so much of it going on ever since
My
the
mixer,
creation of,
that's the word.
Ever since Ukraine
Anyway.
voted with over 90%
Let's
of
see,
the
what do we
vote
got?
to separate from Russia in the early 1990s.
Oh, wait,
I'd also
it's
like to
just
say, 'cause
this
it hasn't been
part.
brought up by anyone, that Russia guaranteed in
So this
1994 in the
is a
Budapests
really
Memorandum
fast mission,
to
actually.
not invade Ukraine after it gave up its nuclear weapons and to respect the nation's territorial integrity. I would also say the spirit of that was also violated when they meddled in the internal affairs of Ukraine.
spirit. I guess that's the legal term, the spirit of it.
Besides that, I heard a lot about concern about the far right, but I heard no concern about, for example, the Russian National Unity Movement, which is a Russian neo-Nazi political and militia group that is active under the arm of the Donetsk People's Republic. They are a neo-Nazi militia that has been fighting on behalf of the Donetsk People's Republic for a very long period of time now. And so for me, this claim of denazification, or this at all having to do with denazification, is ridiculous to me. Not only are Nazis fighting on behalf of Russian-backed rebels,
so this is interesting. There's Nazis everywhere.
Example, Belarus, the leader of Belarus, which is involved in the conflict, praising Adolf Hitler, saying Germany reached its peak.
So that's a core claim, that the Nazis are like everywhere in this conflict. I'm probably too loud. Yeah, I keep peeking. All right. Whoa. In concentration camps. Oh fuck. That's what I get for looking at. Okay. Yeah, my audio is too loud. There we go. Because I'll be making noise probably.
This doesn't even have to do with polling data when we talk about anti-Semitism between the two countries, or the fact that the Azov Battalion's political party, which is something that's cited on multiple occasions, has not won a single seat in Ukraine's parliament.
I've never died to that, obviously.
The right sector has not run a single seat. Me being extremely terrible towards both of them, because nobody likes Nazis as long as you're a normal person.
Okay, it doesn't butcher the whole audio at least.
And the labeling of this coup, we can get more into the Budapest Memorandum. I'm hoping to get more into that.
Okay, here we go. Meanwhile, my stream health just dipped.
Amend to Dylan's statement that I would like to congratulate the neo-Nazi country of Ukraine for being the first country outside of Israel to have its 2 highest level political positions held by Jewish people, which is an amazing achievement for a supposedly neo-Nazi.
Whoa, opening
statement.
Oh my yeah, interrupting. What the fuck?
Hold on one sec, gentlemen. They do it. There are still 5 minutes left for.
Thank you. Well, now, if we're gonna play, now we got factoid time.
I do want to say.
Wow, my stream health. My stream health just totally dipped. Can we recover, please? How can I fix this? Okay. Alright, I think we fixed it. It's gonna slowly get that. Fuck! Okay. You know what? Let me restart checkpoint. Just because I was dealing with stream problems. Yeah, it's going down. It's going down. Let's keep it going.
That these people couldn't respect the rules rules of debate.
Sorry about that.
Russians are not respecting the rules of war.
Had stream problems
across Ukraine.
It's almost as though they were trying to improve the security of their opening statement by violating the security of ours.
Violating the security of the open statement.
Liberally tonight, just because I really seriously want this to be a fruitful conversation.
What? Oh shit!
Thank you.
Any last words from Destiny and Dylan in terms of that opening?
Last word, just for context, before we get into
that also wasn't the best way to
this
play
is a fighting force of maybe 2,500 people,
Whoa.
of whom 10 to 20% are supposedly neo-Nazis, out of a Ukrainian army that has over 200,000 active military personnel.
Whoa,
the idea that Ukraine is some hotbed of neo-Nazi activity is just hilarious. Having both a prime minister and a president that are Jewish, like it's one of the biggest driving forces that Putin uses to try to push his population against Ukraine. It's absolutely pure propaganda. All right, I think
Whoa,
are we good here, Dylan? I've got a few more minutes. Anything else you want to...
I mean, I could
Wait,
just
where-
list
where?
off like
I
Russian war
couldn't
crimes
see
in
him.
Ukraine, since they talked about that.
Fuck.
The targeting of
This will not be the
in
best
Kherson, the
gameplay.
targeting of I mean, he's laughing, demented. As
Oh, it's
usual.
this dude right here. Didn't
Targeting
even
of
see that.
civilians all across Ukraine.
Since you address me, you're full of shit.
Hold on,
I can address that.
Whoa!
My goodness. See,
He's laughing.
I can comment on that.
But we do have, there are
Oh,
about
okay.
3 minutes and 15 seconds left for.
It was that
Now,
dude
stay
right
on
there.
topic. Don't make comments directed at me, Pillsbury.
I can. It's a debate.
Again, I'm
It's a debate. What do you mean?
the
Don't make
blunt.
comments directed at you. Do you want to just make long speech?
Do you think would it be considered a war crime when Yushchenko didn't that guy say that it was really crazy? He had like Agent Orange poisoning or whatever. That there was kind of a random thing when he was running against Yushchenko. This is kind of strange. I'm sorry, when he's running against Yanukovych. That was kind of weird.
A little strange. A little strange. I mean,
It might have randomly, you know.
Look, hey. Amongst
It's a little strange. All the
Wait,
journalists.
what the? Look at that.
No,
Look
I
at
wanted
that.
to
Just
duck.
can't
Why
stop.
didn't he duck?
See, again, more evidence that pro-Russian individuals in this conflict just can't follow rules of engagement. Anyway, critical civilian infrastructure has been targeted in Mariupol. Civilians have been bombed in Kherson again and again and again. Kindergartens have been targeted. NGOs like Amnesty International.
Right now, in violation of the Geneva Convention, I believe that the largest nuclear
Got
reactor in the
it.
world
Boom.
was multiple times. It was currently on fire.
That's true.
Shit.
That's happening
Ukraine.
right now, actually. True.
But we don't have
Of
reports
course,
yet. I
my
think I saw an
fucking thing
article
cuts
saying
out.
Ukrainians themselves were shooting handguns at it in order to foment like false.
Did we check
Wait,
to see if there was
I
a
wanted to
swastika
check if
on
there
the
was
side of
anything.
the nuclear reactor? It could be a Nazi.
No,
logo.
I think the level's almost done.
That was released by Russian state media, but it later came out that was part of Call of Duty War at War. So it was.
The Call of Duty
That was the end of our
level,
opening statement. We rest our case.
of course. Oh, this is irrelevant. You aren't taking the debate seriously.
Modern Day Debate is a neutral channel. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button as we have many more debates.
There's gonna be a dude
coming
over
up.
here, isn't there?
And
Oh,
we'll let
shit.
you know our guests are
Or
linked in the
that.
description if you'd like to hear more or less about, but not least, gentlemen.
Fuck, I wasted my
really,
bullet
during
time
this open
during that.
conversation, I really do need you to work
What
with me.
amazing
It really does have to
gameplay.
be that you're not speaking over
Oh,
each other, 'cause that, of
oh,
course,
James,
thwarts
if
our own
only.
purpose of having the debate if people can't hear people because they're speaking over each other. So we're gonna go into open conversation. The floor is all yours.
Well, where do we want to start, gentlemen?
If only,
I'll start,
James.
since you
This
guys just went
ended
by
up being
responding
hilariously
to, well, I mean, there's
unproductive,
there's a
this
whole lot to pick
debate.
through there, but Dylan did make the inflammatory claim that Yanukovych
Okay.
was impeached.
Very blah,
and,
but whatever.
Despite the fact that
Actually, you know
Dylan
what?
claims to be an
We'll
expert
continue
on the
so it
matter,
saves it,
yada,
but
yada,
we're gonna
yada,
retry
foreign
that because
policy
that level
expert,
isn't long at
he
all.
seems to have lost out the fact that Yanukovych was actually not impeached per the constitutional requirements in Ukraine. In fact,
I would like to finish.
Might as well try to
let me
perfect it.
finish because you happen to not know what you're talking about. So there needed to be 3/4 of the parliament to guarantee an impeachment, and they did not reach that. They did not
Did
get
they?
those 3/4 votes in order to impeach Yanukovych, and the Supreme Courts and the constitutional courts were not involved. They did not recognize this as an impeachment. I believe it was the following day or maybe 2 days after.
So it
Yanukovych
starts slow,
decided
but I promise
his
it's gonna
life was
pick
under
up.
threat and he was going to flee to the second largest city in Ukraine. He did. He fled by helicopter, and there was actually reports. The reason why he fled by helicopter is because there was reports
for
that there
that
was going
reason,
to be
it was-
a act of violence upon
It
him
was not,
committed
like,
by
formal-
these far right-wing
formally.
forces that were trying to lead this coup.
And apparently,
And in
yeah,
fact,
again, we've already
upon
kind of
his,
addressed this, but they're the Nazis, like,
the series of
kinda
cars that were
on
supposed
one-
to be
it's
carrying
not
him
only
off
on
to
one side.
Kharkov when he was leaving, when in fact he was in a helicopter, they were fired upon by snipers. So he was not impeached. There was no constitutional requirement. They didn't get enough votes. So I don't know why you said that.
Well, number one, it is a debate that is ongoing in Ukraine whether he was legally or not legally impeached. This has been
wow, just Sargon Smuckle.
okay. He didn't laugh.
So why'd you say that he was?
Sargon
You
Smuckle.
didn't let me finish. Okay, it's an ongoing constitutional debate on whether he was legally or non-legally impeached.
Why is there a debate?
Hold on,
Yeah,
let's
what's
just
the
give a
debate?
minute or two.
What do you mean,
a minute
what
or two
is
for
the
Dylan to
debate?
respond.
Okay, it is
Let
a
him
ongoing
say what it
legal
is.
debate
He hasn't
within
even
Ukraine,
said it.
and I honestly,
Now we can
I'm
analyze
going to
debate
appeal
rhetoric.
to the legal scholars in Ukraine, which said that he was constitutionally impeached. I'm going to appeal to them because I'm not a legal expert, and I know Jackson Hinkle, you're not a legal expert as well. But I do want to bring up here for a second second.
Oh, shit.
This is probably the first time I've
Boom.
ever seen Jackson in favor
Boom,
of
boom, 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 boom,
a
boom, boom.
regime change war. And can we also talk about
Let me appeal to the scientists.
I'll give you 30 seconds. I got to give you 30 seconds, and then we got to kick it over.
Haz, if you want to talk about science for a second, can we talk about the claim you made that the Ukrainian government was working with the American government to make bioweapons
What
that
the
would
fuck?
target Russian DNA?
What is this, Metroid Other M?
There have been
Metal Gear
reports
Solid?
that the biolabs that are operating within Ukraine, that the Ukrainian government is allegedly solely operating, were indeed This is an allegation by the Russian embassy, and I'm going to appeal.
Do you have any evidence?
I'm going to appeal to the experts.
Yeah, that was better. That was a way better.
Okay, so you.
Well, yeah, I'm going to appeal to the
Way better run
on
of this, and I think we're about to hit a checkpoint, right? The checkpoint up over here.
Ministry. I'm going to appeal to the scholars of the Russian military, who I trust them. I'm not an expert in the intel that all they have.
Yeah, it is.
Has backed that
Yep.
up. Any scientists?
Okay, cool.
Those are Russian military foreign relations experts, and they know what's going on. They have the intel. It's the GRU.
Oh fuck, that's right. It's this guy. Fuck.
Which legal scholars in particular? Which legal scholars are arguing that the impeachment was legal then?
So you're fine with me appealing? So it's a problem for me to appeal to legal scholars, but it's not. It's a problem for you.
Yeah.
I'm just applying the same standard you're applying to me.
But you were laughing when I was doing that, as if it was a ridiculous thing to do. But you're doing the same. So it's okay. I'm applying the same
standard. So all I can say is that I don't believe that the Russian foreign ministry would be lying about this.
So you do believe?
Shit,
okay, how would that be done?
Didn't reload.
Exactly? How would you
Fuck.
target Russian DNA?
I didn't reload. That's on me. That was entirely on me.
Wait. You don't know that there's biological weapons.
Let me finish.
You don't know that there's biological weapons.
Hold on one second. Hold on, gentlemen.
Wait, do you not know that?
Okay.
Gentlemen.
Look at him.
You don't know that's a thing.
Let me finish.
You guys, seriously.
Dude, I wanted to.
Just to be fair to Infrared, you did ask him a question.
I wanted to
leap.
leap.
To answer that last question, Dylan.
I didn't want. I wanted to jump
right
dodge, which you can do on no.
Finally,
Look, they're taking points away from me.
That there's biological weapons that are being developed that target the specific DNA of specific peoples. That the U.S. was accusing China of developing this, and vice versa for China. You don't know about that whole thing.
My problem is it's very difficult for Putin on one hand to talk about the united history of both Ukraine and Russia, and to have the amount of relations between Ukraine and what?
Yeah.
Yeah, we know they shared DNA.
Just say yeah.
Yes. So how are you going to make biochemical weapons that target Russians? But there's no evidence for.
Well, can we just ask a more reasonable question? Wait, don't you think it's why would we trust the Russian state media who is trying to fabricate?
It's the Russian embassy.
Let's give Steven 30 seconds, and we'll kick it over to you, Brad or Jackson.
If I were to try to tell you that I know that Iraq has weapons of mass destruction because the U.S. State Department.
This was not the pretext for.
Oh my God, jeez! You gotta let him speak. How is this a pivot? We're talking about Russia's war on Ukraine, and the misinformation is relevant. Misinformation is relevant.
Give it another 30 seconds to Destiny. We'll come right back to you, Infrared.
Okay, I don't understand because I don't think the Kremlin Gremlin would be happy if I were to cite the U.S. State Department when the United States is trying to enact a unilateral war against another country.
I think that was a better score, though.
The United States does this thing. You would need some sort of external European Union body or UN body or somebody looking into something. So for Russia, that's trying to justify a unilateral invasion into a country, to say that their embassy said that this was a bioweapon, I don't think that's a good. I don't think that's
still talking.
I feel bad for you, Jackson.
Yeah,
Infrared, you gotta do me a favor. You can't, if you're gonna unmute yourself, come on, you gotta work with me.
Oh, but so I'm gonna take his insults and not respond. We're not gonna play the
insult me.
Also, that's not even that much of an insult. That's funny. Gnome. His gnome ass.
Or I am gonna fucking cut him off. Now, if this was the pretext for Russia's special military operation, you would be right. We would need that evidence to be provided. But that's not the fucking pretext for the special military operation. It's another type of allegation, the details of which have not been disclosed to the
let's go with its driver
shoot. So arguing about it is fucking pointless. You want to know my fucking opinion? I trust that they wouldn't make this up because they don't need to, because they have plenty enough, such as the fact that the Ukrainian government is infiltrated by anti-Russian neo-Nazi forces, and we're going to talk about that. Actually, you said that because Zelensky is Jewish and that there's Jewish representation in the Ukrainian government, that there couldn't possibly be neo-Nazi sympathies rampant in the Ukrainian Ukrainian
But-
rule.
I never said that there weren't neo-Nazi sympathizers.
let's-
There might be
Yeah,
sympathizers, but that's
Let's
not
ask a
what
simple
your
question.
Straw
initial
man.
First of
allegation
all,
was.
was Nazism solely defined by anti-Semitism?
Nazism-
Anti-Semitism actually was just a
Nazism.
subset of the pan-European supremacism
Possibly,
that defined
maybe.
Nazism. They were anti-Semitic because they considered Jews to be foreign to Europe.
But-
right? The main
no,
thrust
that-
actually
but
was
the-
targeted toward Russians
wait,
who were
what the
considered
fuck?
Asiatic and Slavs
He's
to the
so
east
wrong.
in general.
Wait, who?
And they wanted to
He's so fucking wrong. I can't believe he's just said that. What? The anti-Semitism was a huge part of Nazis. Like, they had a very particular focus on the Jews. I mean, we know that. Like, just look at, like, the whole... Because they believed in, like, the whole, you know, anti-Semitic conspiracy that, like, the Jews are a cabal and they're waging war against white people and shit, you know?
Wait, who?
I can't believe he just said that.
Who the fuck asked?
I didn't
Nobody
even
cares.
mean to do
This
that.
has nothing
Fuck.
to do with what we're talking about, actually.
Can
No, it
restart.
does. Because the fact that
let
Zelensky
Haas
is
finish.
Jewish doesn't fucking mean that
Restart. That was
can't have
shitty.
neo-Nazi sympathies.
Oh wait, does
Stepan
Max
Bandera,
fire
who was a Nazi
scriptedly? I
collaborator
can't.
during World
Let's
War
take a
II,
look.
is widely
Because I didn't
celebrated
think
in
I
Ukraine
touched it.
by the Ukrainian government. They're putting monuments
No,
by
he
him.
doesn't.
They're putting his pictures up during
So I
Maidan.
can slip
He's been
over
exonerated
and
and
do
he's
better.
been rehabilitated, despite the fact that he was a fucking Nazi collaborator. Now, if you can't square that consistency with the fact that Zelensky is Jewish, you should go ask Zelensky himself why he's the head of a state that is celebrating a Nazi collaborator despite him being of the Jewish background.
So are you saying that the Russian Nazis like Jews? They're fine with Jews? I mean, the Ukrainian Nazis. They're fine with Jews? They're like pro-Jew Nazis?
That's a question you should raise to
Shit.
them. And,
Well, I'm asking you. I'm raising the question to you.
They may harbor anti-Semitic views, but as far as I'm not concerned, there is
Damn
nothing
it.
there is nothing impossible about the idea of Western
Shit.
Ukrainian who are from Jewish descent to also have neo-Nazi sympathies themselves.
Having sympathies for somebody that might have been a
Nazism
national
is
hero.
primarily
I'm sorry. I don't want to interrupt you.
Infrared,
My bad.
infrared. We've
Not
given you a
only
good amount of time.
Dead. Okay, good.
Let's kick it over to Steven, and then Jackson.
So-
just
Jesus.
after Steven, just in case Jackson has anything too.
So this is like Nazi or not Nazi propaganda. It's hard to tell the difference. This is like Putin propaganda 101. Okay,
Ah,
so
fuck.
the original claim was that the government was full of like neo-Nazis, and now it's shifted.
It is.
Am I
Infrared.
done talking? Holy shit! Now the claim is moved all the way back to. Well,
Obviously,
there
we're
was a
gonna
hero
suck,
that
like,
was
on our first try.
Pretty arguably a neo-Nazi that some people in Ukraine celebrate.
Oh yeah,
It's
this whole
totally
argument with
different.
the.
Totally.
What do you mean not
Totally,
some?
no, it's not. He's an incredibly. He is an incredibly divisive figure, and there is an incredibly divisive figure, even in Western Ukraine.
Yeah.
Okay, the United States. Can I finish a fucking sentence? Holy shit!
Dude, yeah, let him
This isn't your
speak.
Spencer debate where you're gonna ramble for 12 fucking hours without letting me get a fucking word in. Okay? The
Jesus.
idea that just because
Stay in
somebody
cover.
worships some hero or some country said, "Oh, this guy was really important in our history," means that the entire country is all of a sudden infested with neo-Nazis is no
Fuck.
less true than when the United States celebrates any fucking hero that has a sordid history or
I
has
actually-
been
again,
racist or
another
has been
thing I don't know
anti-Semitic
if I
or
ever
whatever else.
failed.
The fucking United States took in Nazis after World War II in exchange for some of the scientific information they could give us. It doesn't make us Nazis. It doesn't make our government full of neo-Nazi sympathizers. If you want to make the argument that Ukraine has neo-Nazi sympathizers, then you need to show me neo-Nazi actions happening today in Ukraine, not trying to allude to some
what?
hero that a prime minister, you know, in 2010 or whatever, decided to nominate as some fucking hero because
Okay,
of his
there we
history in
go.
Ukraine. You need to show me something current about that. What are the neo-Nazi activities that Ukraine is taking on today? Don't tell
Yeah.
me who was nominated as a fucking national hero.
Right. Perfectly said
You're
it.
completely full of fucking shit.
Oh, okay.
You just said that Stepan
You're
Bandera
just full of
was
shit.
incidentally
There's no answer.
a Nazi collaborator. His whole historical significance was that he was a fucking Nazi
This dude's
collaborator.
coming,
He
right?
has no
Yeah.
significance outside of that.
I think
Oh, yeah?
I can
It's not like some
add
US
some
figure.
context to
It's
this
not like
too.
the inventor of the fucking telephone who happened to be a racist. This guy,
Shit.
his primary historical significance
Where?
was being a Nazi collaborator who betrayed the
Oh, fuck.
Soviet Union and was
Wow, there's
attacking
lots
them
of
on behalf
dudes
of
coming.
fucking Nazi to
That's true.
exterminate the Slavic and Russian and Ukrainian peoples to create a westernized Ukrainian collaborator state. So you're completely
Just
full
to
of
hear-
fucking shit when it comes to that. Finally, you want to know about the neo-Nazi activities that are
Shit.
going on now and have been going on in the past
Holy
8 years?
fuck.
Sure, it's the Azov Battalion, which is the vanguard of Ukraine's military in the eastern Ukraine and in the Donbass, which is regularly attacking civilians, regularly shelling civilian infrastructure, regularly embarking on a campaign to slaughter and exterminate the Russian peoples in eastern Ukraine. They committed the massacre of Odessa back in the early days of the Maidan. All sorts of fucking neo-Nazi activities.
Okay.
They burned people alive. They've hung people. They've slaughtered people. They've made people disappear. If you want to talk about about neo-Nazi activities in fucking Ukraine that are now in contemporary here, we have a whole host of
every single thing you just described, modern day Russia.
Add some context. I want to jump in and add something.
Crucified people. They crucified
none of that was neo-Nazi and all that's been done by
it's not
Russia.
neo-Nazi. They crucified people for being
It's not a neo-Nazi war crime.
We're always gonna suck on our first go on these levels, I think.
Let me get in my 2 cents now, okay? So, at the end of the day,
oh shit,
the primary goal of the ideological inheritors of the Organization for Ukrainian Nationalists, which is the
oh, that's
vanguard
cool
of
attention to
fascism in
detail.
Ukraine. This is the ideology, the radical faction within this organization, especially of Stefan Bandera. They are the people
I need to learn the levels
primarily
again. It's been a while
responsible for the
since I
hundreds
played.
of thousands of Jewish, Polish, and Russian deaths that took place during World War II when Western Ukrainian.
Oh, we have to go back. Oh, yeah, that's right, because then this bus ends up being taken. Yeah.
With the actual Nazis from Germany that were invading. Okay, so. Ideological inheritors of this ideology, and apologies for not being able to pronounce these names properly, but Oleg Tianyabuk, who is the co-founder of Oleg Svoboda, he claims that he wants to purge Ukraine of Jewish people and Russians. He was ranked
so these
fifth
like
most
individuals
anti-Semitic political
represent
leader on the planet in 2012. It just so happens he was a
it
people's
being
deputy
overrun
in Ukraine up until 2002. But
he does not
right
fit
here,
in that outfit.
who was the co-founder of Svoboda, also co-founded this ultra-nationalist right-wing party with Andrei Parubi. He was the leader of the Euromaidan protests. He was the one that helped organize the violence that was inflicted upon the what's assumed to be roughly 49-50 individuals who died in the massacres on February 20th of 2014 at Euromaidan. He was the speaker of one of the most recent parliaments, the chairs of one of the most recent parliaments in Ukraine. Okay. He was the leader of the Society to Erect the Stefan Bandera Monument in Ukraine, and he claims that Bandera was the most important person in Ukrainian history. So it's not just, and I could go down a list here. You could Maxim Marchenko, this individual, Zelensky,
Victor Marchenko,
commander of the far-right Adair battalion. You have Viktor Yushchenko, who's president.
Oh God.
He actually publicly, before leaving office, signed a decree stating that for an unbreakable spirit of heroism, self-sacrifice, and the struggle of the independence of Ukraine, I'm granting a status of hero of Ukraine to Stefan Bandera.
I killed all of them. Nice.
You can look at tons of people. Andriy Belitsky, Ukrainian white nationalist. He was the co-founder of the Social
nice. Got a
National
trophy for it too. You can't see it, but I got a trophy. Only one choice given.
Shows he was a big, part of the Maidan protests. You can go down the line. Many.
How y'all doing in chat? Anyone in chat? Anyone watching?
Deputies of the
30 more seconds.
People's Deputies of Ukraine.
Again, reminder, I don't believe I can
Security
skip
and Defense
these.
Council secretaries, all of these people within the Ukrainian military and government have had some sort of an ideological either sympathy to or participation in, a lot of these people have, with neo-Nazism. Okay, even, and this is the last thing I'll say regarding neo-Nazism.
Switch guns.
This is a shocking video. There's a video of some of the neo-Nazis who
something I do love about this game is like the realistic weapon carry, where like you see his weapons at all times. It's good shit.
And these were the
honestly,
same
which makes me wish more third-person shooters did that. Feasibly, like the carrying of his weapons. Shit, this thing is happening again.
That was the last one that you mentioned, though.
Yeah, real quick. So just as a quick,
if the Azov are marginal, if the Azov battalion is marginal, then why did Poroshenko in 2014 say they are our best fighters? Why did even the mainstream Western press report?
Here it goes. Hopefully that doesn't destroy my. It might destroy my stream.
Why did the National Guard?
That was the last question.
My audio. Fuck. Here we go. We're back.
So just as a real.
We're back. Good.
Okay. Like you can go back as
good.
much as you want. Like 20
GG.
years ago, when Ukraine was barely a country for 10 years, and the
Okay,
country
cool.
was still mired in corruption, and try to say, well, these guys came from these parties that were like blah blah blah. Show me anti-Semitism.
I mean, yeah,
in
like
Ukraine, right?
for
Ukraine
a country, like when it's being founded, yeah.
Hold on, hey, come on.
Oh yeah, we gotta hit the button.
Yeah, so
Did we picked up everything?
Anti-Semitism in Ukraine.
For now?
Where is the Nazism in Ukraine? You can't point to the
I think
civil
we have,
war
yeah.
happening in the East and going civilians are dying.
Press the button.
Nazism. You can't point towards people being killed extrajudiciously, people that are being invaded and genocide,
believe there's
people that are being
dudes who
deported
come
from their
through.
lands. Because if you want to call that Nazism,
Or you go
then we just have to
through,
go over to
and
the
then
East and look
there's
at Putin.
more-
He's the
okay.
biggest fucking Nazi alive right now. So the
Yep.
idea that in and of itself qualifies as anti-Semitism, when Ukraine is probably the least anti-Semitic country in Europe, according to the Ukrainian Jewish Center,
Which, why would they
according to
lie
the
about
Ukrainian Jewish Encounter, at least.
how
When you look at
anti-Semitic
the
it
fact that
is?
people
They have
in
no
Poland
reason to
are so
lie.
eager and keen to take on
No
people
reason
that are
we
from
know of.
Ukraine. Like we don't
Oh,
see
fuck.
this mass persecution of Jewish people in Ukraine. We don't see any like rampant anti-Semitism in Ukraine. Like you can go back all you want and point to like one hero that was nominated by an outgoing prime minister, or you can point to these people that in the very beginning came from far-right parties. But there's just no evidence today that there is this rampant anti-Semitism, this rampant Nazism in Ukraine. It doesn't exist.
Where are you
Oh,
getting
shit.
this idea that the only measurement of Nazism
Fuck.
is anti-Semitism?
Okay.
Nazism was
This is
Thank you very much. So
a
there's
losing
also
battle.
something that's really
Hold
interesting
on.
here, and it's that Nazism seems to matter so much.
Yeah,
on one
that's
side.
fine. That's
Nobody
fine. I got
cares about the
flanked. I didn't.
neo-Nazi
Yeah.
militias fighting on side by side.
See,
with
there
Russian
you go.
soldiers. Nobody even brings them
He's
up.
right.
The Russian
Dylan's
National
right.
Unity Movement and the militias fighting on behalf of the Donetsk People's Republics. That isn't brought up. Why?
Oh, I think
Because
it's
those
that
are
same
inconvenient
dude.
Nazis.
I didn't end up
Those are
killing
Nazis
him.
on the Russian side. People don't talk about the fact that we're talking about the Nazis are bad. Why are the Nazis bad? Obviously because they put people in concentration camps. They slaughtered people
Oh,
and all
shit.
the war crimes that he brings up. But the fact that the same people involved in putting homosexuals in concentration camps are right now within Ukraine fighting against the Ukrainian government, that is something of
Shit.
concern. I heard them laugh when I talked
Okay.
about Belarus, the Belarusian dictator Lukashenko,
Where?
praising Adolf Hitler.
What the
These things
fuck?
are inconvenient facts because the problem
Oh,
is,
okay,
right,
so
and
there's
this
a
is the
whole
fact of the
bunch
matter,
who come.
there are Nazis fucking everywhere across this conflict. But the problem is the people want to hype up the Nazis on one side to make
I guess
them
you
the
could get
Nazis
like a lot
because
of your points
Slavic
back. It's
people
minus
have a
200,
terrible
and then you
history
can get
with
like
Nazis.
minus
If you can
100.
make your opponent the Nazis, then
Or
boom, they're
plus
the bad guys.
100.
Anything you do against them is justified.
Shit.
If I could stand here and tell you that Russia is a Nazi state, I could bring up the fact that 5%
God
of
damn
Ukrainians
it.
believe that Jews should not be allowed to be citizens, while 15% of Russians believe that thing. Almost triple that statistic. I could bring up the Lukashenko quotes about Hitler. I could bring up the gays being put in concentration camps in Russian territory. I could bring
There
up
we go.
the neo-Nazis militias and
Okay.
say, so
Again,
Russia
very
is a
messy,
Nazi
but
state.
it
But that
works.
would be dishonest. But I'm seeing that dishonesty from both of you right now, trying to paint Ukraine a Nazi state, and I don't even think Jackson and Infrared got the points
fuck.
order. Jackson saying that they are anti-Semitic Nazis, Infrared saying that these are Nazis who love the Jews. I can't even.
I didn't fucking say that. What I actually said was that the emphasis on anti-Semitism may not be as strong as the emphasis on pan-European supremacism and racial exterminationism, but that's the.
Is that even
point.
a word?
And moreover, the
Exterminationism?
movement for national unity is not at all fucking
Got
relevant
him.
or prevalent
Nice.
within the
They're
fucking
fighting.
Donbass. It's
They're fighting.
Hold on.
Yeah,
That was
they're
better.
nowhere near as relevant or proportional to the fucking forces of the Russians that are fighting in the Donbass as is the Azov battalion. They're marginal. They're completely marginal.
But
they're
it's
Islamophobic.
2000.
The Chechens are fighting.
Okay,
The
we gotta
Chechens are
check
right
to make
now
sure.
A very important part of Russia's operation right now. You think the Chechens are working alongside these totally Islamophobic, prevalent forces? No, they're
Yes.
not prevalent. They're fucking completely marginal.
And
these
if
They
you,
are.
if you take
No,
into
they're not.
account the premise of what started this entire conflict back
let's
in
use one of these.
2014, the Euromaidan protests and the violence that ensued there.
making
and
sure-
the fact
oh,
that
yeah,
it,
there's meds over
was
here.
co-opted by these
Are there?
coup leaders that were
Making
Western
sure we get
backed.
pain meds.
You do have to acknowledge that the effort to accomplish this and the success of the movement was
Oh,
led
it's in here,
great
yeah.
part thanks to Andrei Perubi, who is the speaker of one of the most recent parliaments and the chair of one of the most recent parliaments in Ukraine. This is the guy who literally sparked the entire conflict.
Hold on,
Another
I'm
thing
making
I
sure
heard
I'm
you say
stopped.
that was even maybe more damning.
We're in the middle of a
than
fight.
The fact that you falsely claimed that the president was impeached when he wasn't impeached was when you said that you claimed
okay.
that.
Was
or
that a
maybe it
false
was
claim?
Destiny, actually, I might be getting my quotes wrong. One of you said that Crimea was illegally invaded by Russia. I'd just be curious, like, hear your thoughts on that more, and whether or not you respect the will of the Crimean people who voted in a
I think we're pretty well
referendum
stocked. Now what?
overwhelmingly to legally join the Russian Federation. 96.77%
I can't
voted
really
in
hear her
favor of joining
easily,
the Russian Federation.
Oh yeah, up here. Okay.
0.51% supported staying in Ukraine.
Jackson, was that after Russia invaded Crimea? They held that referendum, right? I just want to get that fact straight.
What do you find as
talk about
I just wanted to hear yes or no. Is that Jackson? Was that the Russian referendum they held after they invaded Ukraine?
Watch TV. Oh yeah, that's like a Easter egg, I think.
Because going back to
Nothing in there.
1804,
Alright.
there has been Russian troops in
The invasion of when they took over, when they invaded in Crimea. You can't answer that question. He's not going to answer that question.
I gotta respond. Previously invading Ukraine, despite the fact that they have had troops there since 1804.
What the fuck?
Then sure, we'll call it an invasion.
I wanna reset because that blew me the fuck out, and I wasn't even expecting it. So let's start that over. Holy shit.
Having troops stationed in a port is not the same as taking
That
over
was
the entire
ridiculous.
peninsula.
Separated from the Ukrainian government.
What's your evidence they took over the entire peninsula? Because there are plenty of videos on the ground of people saying they are not threatening anybody. They're here peacefully.
Who has sovereignty right now over the Crimean Peninsula? I'm sorry. Can you? Who owns?
In favor.
Who administers right now to the region of the Crimean Peninsula? Is it the Ukrainian
Peninsula?
government? Yeah, or is it the Russian government?
It's a part of the Russian Federation since they.
Okay, so what does it mean to? And they voted.
Shit,
they
there's
voted
dude
that.
over here,
Who
isn't there?
held that referendum?
The referendum was organized by the people of Crimea.
Under who? It was a Russian organized referendum that had it was organized.
Oh shit, he's in there. Fuck.
What actually happened?
Whoa.
Interruption.
What the fuck?
Just to be sure that.
Oh, we did
Feel
it.
like you had enough
Okay.
time to answer that last
That was
question from
different.
Sure.
Got you. Okay, and then I think Stephen, you were.
So a referendum that's not recognized by any other country in the world, including Ukraine, obviously. The idea that you could invade some part of a country and then hold a referendum there to see if those people want to stick with you or not. Even if we granted all of that they did say yes, you can't just have populations referendum away parts of your country's sovereign territory to other invading nation states. That's just not how that works. Even if that was the case, I don't care what's interesting here. Even if that was the case, that doesn't work that way in any other part of the world.
Yeah.
Okay? Respecting the sovereignty.
Wait. Oh, it's over here. But there's pills.
Respecting the results.
Listen, Destiny.
No, wait, dude. Hold on. James, seriously, they can't just throw out like 50 million. I didn't talk.
Yeah, there were like
I didn't even
15
answer his
claims.
question. I didn't even get to answer his question.
Let me respond to what
Not to mention the fact that.
1 sec, gentlemen.
Stop
I hate to
talking.
do this, but I do want to say, Dylan, is there anything you want to
That's-
clean up
yeah,
on
that's
behalf
all.
of Destiny? Because we haven't heard from you for a while.
There's two things. The first thing I wanted to bring up is that I didn't hear from Infrared really. He just said the Chechens are fighting the yes, but Chechens involved in putting homosexuals in concentration
Oh
camps.
yeah, we're back
That
here.
doesn't make them Nazis. That doesn't
Listen to
That's
me.
true, but wait.
Let
him finish
Whether
this
they're
claim.
Nazis or not specifically doesn't matter. Because
Okay, then just say that.
Let me finish.
Let me finish.
I don't care. Shut up. I don't care.
Yeah, shut up.
I'm trying to
Shut
finish
the
my point.
fuck up, Oz.
I think that people who put people in concentration camps, minority groups, should not be involved in any active combat zone anywhere. In fact, they should not even be allowed to hold governmental positions. And I'm not finished, and so you should stop talking. With that in
And so you
mind,
should stop
and
talking.
knowing when you guys talked about all these war crimes and everything that was so terrible, I think it's weird that we can just look past the fact that one of the people involved currently in fighting the Ukrainians are the same people who shoved people in concentration camps in Chechnya. Also, it's weird that you are fine downplaying your guys' Nazis. You admit, I guess they are Nazis fighting on behalf of your guys' side.
Oh, nice. We got
your own Nazis and upplayed the other side's Nazis
got to the
because your
checkpoint.
Nazis again are inconvenient. It's inconvenient that there's Nazis on your side, and so instead, I feel like there's no Nazis on our side. Where these Nazis are fighting a campaign of denazification.
Also, too,
Shit. shit. Okay. Can I restart this checkpoint? Oh, we'll let him kill me. I jumped way too fast into that. That was really...
Okay, wait 1 second. All right, I do want to give Infrared a brief chance, and then Destiny, I know you have a couple of points.
Jumped way too fast into that. That was on me.
Let's go. So the first thing is very clear. Dylan, I know that you're in favor of a Nazi, pan-European supremacist, but LGBT-friendly ideology. I already know that, okay? But the fact is, I agree. It's probably true that there's homophobia in Chechnya. They're very much more in favor of more traditional values. That's their business. As far as concentration camps are concerned, I've seen no fucking evidence for that, throwing them in concentration camps. But even if I were to grant you that that was true, that still doesn't make them fucking Nazis who want to exterminate whole peoples because of their fucking nationality or their race or their ethnic origins. You seem to think that's
or
not
sexuality,
some kind of equivalent, right? But I don't think that's a fucking equivalent. I don't think having a conservative country, which I don't agree with persecuting sexual minorities, I just don't think that's on the same fucking level as being a goddamn fucking Nazi.
Didn't expect there to be 500 people over here.
Now you're
should have figured that's what they do in this game.
On the Russian side because
there we go.
Convenient. Never mind the fucking
I guess they're rewarding you for play. Holy shit.
They have compared to the fucking Azov battalion on the Ukrainian side, they are nowhere near as fucking relevant. They're not significant. They are marginal.
You can't do
His gain, yeah.
I thought it was
fucking gain.
Infrared, 1 second.
Objective.
Infrared, hold on. I just need you to. I thought it. I did sense something too. It did seem like like 20 seconds ago. It did seem like something.
Yeah, because you're making everybody louder than me.
No, I promise.
Was that Russian propaganda?
I
mean, these Nazis.
These are telling you that. People in my own chat are telling you that.
Infrared, I can give you 20 seconds in terms of wrapping up your point, but then I've got to kick it over to Steven.
Dylan is making the claim that that it's just inconvenient for me, rather than the actual reality being the fact that the Russian nationalists and the Russian neo-Nazis are completely marginal in the Donbass, whereas the Azov battalion are not. He mentioned something also about Lukashenko's out of context.
Oh, she wants me to go in there
taken out of context. Lukashenko is an anti-fascist, 100% anti-Nazi, 100% anti-Hitler. We can actually get into the nitty-gritty of what proves and backs that up too. You took some statements.
Open security door. Fuck.
Steven's been waiting for a while.
There we go. Got it.
So just to reiterate again, the Azov battalion is not making up the brunt of the fighting forces in Eastern Ukraine.
In Eastern
incredibly small. This is a small battalion of like less than 3,000 fighters. The idea that these people are making up the majority of Ukraine's forces is just not true. And even of the Azov battalion, only a minority of these people are neo-Nazis. Even of the Azov battalion, a minority of people are Nazis. There are problems there for sure, but this claim that there is a broader
you think you killed him hard enough, Max?
I mean, at this point, maybe there is. If we're defining Nazis as people that are pro-LGBT and pro-Semitism, I don't know what kind of Nazis these are, or what makes them Nazis. Aside from earlier, you said they kill people, which I guess everybody on the planet is everybody's Nazi. I don't like Hitler wasn't going for like pro-European supremacy.
I mean, he was. But Haas's definition isn't any better. Haas's definition isn't any better, by the way. Fair enough. Haas's definition isn't any better, though. So
he talked about how Europe will be triumphant against the hordes coming from Central Asia.
Europe. Who? Europe who? Every member of Europe? Every state?
No, exactly.
He was a European supremacist. He was a Western European
supremacist. Look how he walked that back in like a half second. Oh shit.
Would you characterize the Nazism of Germany as having a large anti-Semitic component and having a large ethnic component?
This will be tricky.
It's not defined as a European.
Aryan is literally Western European for the Nazis.
Shit, I should stop like doing this paintbrush shit and actually aim.
Jackson has a point. Jackson would like to jump in. Let's have Jackson. Go ahead.
Wait, there was a nitro over there? I didn't see that. Fuck. This TV is like not that big.
Destiny seems to be just hyper-focusing on the Azov battalion, which, yes, is, making up the brunt of the violent, aggression against the people of Donetsk and Luhansk. Keep in mind that war, 81% of the civilian deaths that have taken place there in the past 3 years took place on the side
I'm not
of the
aiming
Mexican
well.
Mahans. But as I mentioned, you know, the people who led this coup are the ultra-nationalist right-wingers.
RPG! Boom!
Anti-Semites and encompass this neo-Nazi, ideology. You seem to be leaving that out, and you know, I can guess the motive.
Okay.
Why do you?
Oh shit!
To get to the broader point here, Destiny. A few minutes ago, you said that it's not okay for, and I'm paraphrasing, so if you want to rephrase this after the fact, go for it. It's not okay for troops to come into what you recognize as a sovereign country. There's
a lot of shit happening on the screen. There we go.
A change of power. I think that's, you know, we can both agree, right? So
shit, I lost track of the thing.
You think that it's okay,
the reticle.
I guess, for these
man, can you imagine watching Jackson Hinkle?
That encompass this
He's so fucking boring, like the way he talks.
To hijack the Maidan protests, massacre people on February 20th when the protests were actually dying down and people were going home, and cause all of this violence to spiral out of control. And then, when negotiations are going on between some of these neo-Nazis and the Yanukovych government to try and bring about pre-term elections to restore some order to the Ukrainian government with Yanukovych, the neo-Nazi factions, again, like Andrei Parubi, who was the leader, the commandant of the Euromaidan protests, he ordered upon his paramilitary individuals to continue blockading, to continue,
and then we'll see if I can find another short level after this, and then we'll probably, because the debate will get interesting very soon.
To incite more violence. And there's been countless Maidan leaders and activists who provided testimony that they were the snipers. It was not members of the Ukrainian police who were doing it.
Or Destiny.
Wait, so do you not believe that Yanukovych ordered his special military people to fire on protesters? You think that's just completely and totally bullshit?
Oh, 100%. There's no evidence, and in fact,
Ukraine's Ministry of Internal Affairs literally says as much. Why do you say there's no evidence of that?
Yeah, what?
Because the Ukrainian investigation into this, the special investigation into this, actually did not make any initial charges against people who were involved in this. And again,
wait, they didn't make charges because Yanukovych wasn't even given guarantees that he wouldn't be charged. That's why he fled to Russia. Unlike the prior prime minister that was able to have a transfer of power because he was guaranteed he wouldn't be charged. Yanukovych wasn't given any such guarantee. That's why he left the country.
My point here as to why I'm right.
Not really. Also, earlier you said you keep citing the fact that you keep citing the fact that
Why am I in slow-mo right now?
I barely talked. This guy's like rambled
so
much. I haven't responded to half what the shit guy said.
That there's no evidence for this, so I'm
shit.
I promise we'll come right back to you, Steven.
So you said, why do I think that there's no evidence for this or whatever? So the Ukrainian investigation.
A couple more.
I feel like I haven't responded to literally like fucking 80%.
Yeah, because they keep. Yeah.
Do I just keep talking? I don't know.
18 self-admitted members of the Maidan
Probably
sniper
just keep
units
talking.
admitted in media interviews to the
They're all
Maidan
armored.
massacre, to sniping police and protesters. Several former members of the Georgian military testified that they and other groups of Maidan snipers in Hotel Ukraine, where these bullets were coming from. And the investigation actually proved that bullets were coming from here. They just never actually.
Okay, Silver.
Who was in the hotel
for first try? I'll take it.
Just because I did give you a chance to answer the question.
Didn't expect that.
Well, there's a lot of evidence. So if Steven wants the full answer, he should be willing to get the full answer.
If the full answer is Gish Gallop.
So
yeah.
Who's finding?
Change the goalpost.
I'm not changing. You're the one that's adding a new goalpost at the end of every single sentence you said.
You literally said.
I can't even respond. I can't even respond. Okay, hold on. Wait. Okay. Are we doing this right now? Is this what we need to do to get the conversation going? Okay. So who do you side with? Who's ruling? What organization, what government's ruling do you side with that said that police did not fire upon protesters during the
giving each other paragraphs of text? So I'm going to now
do I side with?
No, whose investigation are you citing? Whose details, whose findings? Not a one-off media interview that was posted on Russia Today.
I'm referring to the testimonies given by the snipers themselves.
Testimony to who? Why would you only agree? Why would you only look at some testimony? Why wouldn't you look at the overall ruling of the Ukrainian Interior Ministry?
Because the Ukrainian investigation did not place fault on either side, though according to the testimonies themselves, they admitted fault.
Now let's go back to the blush and crush.
They explicitly said that Yanukovych ordered his police to fire upon the protesters.
Oh, we're almost good.
Said that?
They did not place blame.
Because now there's
Why
stuff
do
to
you say blame? Who's saying place blame? They made the statement. Their findings said.
Who did they charge?
Because the cat.
I don't know if it was I don't think it was their role to charge anybody. And Yanukovych already fled the country.
It was their role to place charges. They didn't place charges because they couldn't find evidence that the police did this. In fact, the reason why Destiny, why can't you give me an answer for this? There were testimonies that the Maidan, the Maidan organizers were the snipers who shot at police and protesters.
All right, there we go.
We have forensic examinations as well by government ballistic experts, which determined that about a dozen
and there's our
cases,
Giga Chad
the
right there.
were shot from Maidan-controlled structures, including the hotel. A forensic ballistic
how's
examination
Blush doing?
found that the bullets
both
killed
are
protesters did not match bullet samples from the police. I mean, I could go on and on. Why are you making assumptions without looking at the evidence itself?
Because I feel like I would rather rely on the overall rulings or findings of the entire committee rather than just trying to go off of some of the testimony that you might have found given by some of the officers that may or may not have been involved.
Well, I could go on more, but you have to understand that this committee, at the end of the day, is being controlled by the coup government who actually carried out this operation.
But earlier you had no problems going by information that comes from the Russian State Department about some stuff going on in Ukraine?
I'm not talking about that right now. I'm talking about this. I'm actually looking at this investigation fairly and honestly.
Let's I guess
you
scroll
made the
through.
accusation that it was police from the Ukrainian security services that fired down. Now you're getting caught in a little little problem here. So you're trying to deflect back to earlier discussions. Why did you make that claim without evidence?
Why did Yanukovych flee the country? Was it when he wasn't given a guarantee that he'd be prosecuted if he didn't do it?
It was a coup government that was gonna fucking Trump shit up.
It was a coup government that was led by the guy
the
that
self-centered one is into me now.
Destiny, I just want to say one last thing on this point because clearly you're refusing to acknowledge the reality of the situation. Most people consider what took place on February 20th, when 49 individuals were killed, as the most controversial hours in any European conflict since the end of the Cold War. It was the precipice for this coup. It was what launched all of this conflict into action, so to speak. So the fact that it was a false flag attack
Manos hands of fate.
The coup protesters themselves, the militia organizers themselves, to try and get Western backing and to try and incite more chaos in the streets when the protests were dying down is a very, very important note when you look at the broader context of all of this and the fact that after the coup that took place because of this, that is what sparks the increased aggression in the Donbass, and that is what also sparks the increased aggression against protesters in Odessa who are fighting back against the coup government.
We've seen this.
You have no evidence to support any of that. That there was Western backing to any of these people, that any of this was a false flag. Everything you're going off of is complete conjecture. The testimony of one or two, I've got testimony of the United States of Bigfoot and UFOs abducting people. The testimonies of one or two people doesn't prove any of the claims that you're making.
There we go.
Let's just actually go to U.S. involvement in this, because I have a lot of quotes from actual diplomats themselves who admitted that they were involved in providing funding, direct funding to the Maidan coup organizers. So first of all, we have Victoria Nuland and Jeffrey Piot, who were two U.S. diplomats, U.S.-Ukrainian diplomats at the time, who have a viral leaked phone conversation admitting to the fact that they were handpicking the coup government.
And that conversation, where?
You want me to send you
the link here we go.
No, because I've already read the entire
from the
conversation.
intro.
What did that conversation say?
They never said anything about hand-picking the new government. It wouldn't even make sense. Really? Yes, really. Give me the quote where they say that.
Yeah,
give me the quote where they say that. Yeah, read it.
Guess what? They can't find. You can't find that quote.
Fuck the EU, referencing to the fact that the EU was not being aggressive enough during this whole situation. And then we said, or we have Victoria.
Yeah, let's go to the beach. Why not?
Yachts, referring to Yatsenyuk, is the guy who's got the economic experience, she said. Referring to opposition leader Arseniy Yatsenyuk, who backed the devastating policies that were demanded by the West. So they were discussing whether or not Yatsenyuk was going to be an effective
So again,
leader
this
in
like
the new government.
tendency to conspiracy is very prevalent throughout this.
Outside of the new government with Yatsenyuk.
The tendency to conspiracy is very prevalent throughout this debate with Jackson specifically, where he keeps like going like, oh well, they said that maybe they would have supported, and like as a result that means like a wholesale endorsement of everything, you know, because he's like, but then when he pressed on the claim, he'll be like, oh well, I mean, I don't know, I guess maybe there's like a hint, or there's a possibility or something, but then it's like, oh well, okay, really, then you're really gonna back off that claim now? It's like, okay, weak.
And Destiny,
weak arguments.
Hold on, real quick, because you keep pivoting, asking questions, adding commentary. None of this.
Yeah, exactly. Adding commentary.
As you said, Yatsenyuk was already the opposition leader. Where is this idea that they picked him?
Who became the prime minister?
The cat with the little crab.
What do you mean? The coup. Yatsenyuk?
Yeah.
Who was already the opposition leader? Wait, he was
what?
already the opposition leader. He already had 370 plus
is he
votes
clapping? He's like, good job.
He was already the opposition leader. He already had 370 plus votes in the
clapping.
parliament. What do you mean?
Andrei Pyrubi was the Maidan coup leader. He was the real.
No, wait. Where is the evidence that he was handpicked? How was he handpicked?
Oh
my God.
Wait, what? Because he didn't have the backing in parliament for it.
He became the chair of parliament.
No.
2 million.
No, you're pivoting. Where is the evidence that this guy was handpicked by the United States? That he was.
I can afford it.
A conversation about this guy saying he would be good when he's already the opposition leader is
how
not
much
evidence
is a book?
of him being handpicked by the West.
100,000.
Well, there was
that's not a
people in
sign
that
that
conversation
Noise.
that they were going back and
Yeah, they're going
Unironically.
back and
How
you
perfect.
have no evidence. This is everything you do.
Beach. 2 beach dates.
How is that no evidence?
Wait.
If there's evidence in the phone call of 2 diplomats saying,
Oh,
man, this leader in this country would be so
Nice.
awesome, and yeah,
An
that other
extra
one sucks.
time
Do you
block.
think that's evidence of an assistant to...
It just so happens, Destiny, that she admitted that the U.S. Stoked this coup with $5 billion in previous years to lead these regime change operations.
Wait, where did she admit that? Where did she admit that? Read that quote. Read that quote. Read that quote where she admit that.
Or she admit that.
Give me 1 second here.
Can we all sit in silence while he reads and wait for it? I want to hear that quote where she says, the United States sent $5 billion in aid to stoke this coup.
See, that's the thing. You need to have very specific language.
Yeah, if he has that quote, I would be interested in hearing that. We don't have to be silent.
Her gamer fucking suit.
Give me 1 second.
Swimsuit.
Exactly where the $5 billion went. I would be interested in that too.
In the meantime, folks, our guests are linked in the description. If you haven't already clicked on there, you can hear more.
I know
from
the
them.
feeling.
Also, I would just like to say that there is tons of evidence of the Chechen government putting gays in concentration camps from multiple news outlets.
Well, that's not what we're debating today. The only thing.
But the thing is, you disputed it, so I'm just acknowledging
Yeah. Well, we can debate that another time. But for now, what we're saying is that is
well,
not the same as Nazism.
Okay, but is that of concern? Do you think?
If I was Chechen, I would be opposed to it, but I don't live in Chechnya. It's not my business.
So, do you think
they probably should be a little more concerned?
Concentration camps should be active.
It seems kind of shitty.
You cannot make the racist claim that all Chechens.
Wait, no. I'm not saying all Chechen soldiers, but there are officials who were involved in that fighting in Ukraine right now.
Which ones?
Okay.
You know the one that you're like, Dylan, you liar, you've said this guy died. That guy, right? Yeah, you're saying he's alive. That guy,
donut, vegan donut.
I'm saying, okay, that guy, let's say he's alive. That makes your argument even worse. That guy was involved in putting homosexuals in concentration camps.
Okay, I haven't seen any evidence for that.
There's tons of evidence for it.
In case you had that quote, Jackson, I don't want you to feel left out.
So, Victoria Nuland, U.S. Assistant Secretary of State, estimated in in 2013 that the USA had, quote, invested more than $5 billion in 1991 to help Ukraine achieve the future it deserves.
1991 to, yeah, wait, what?
No, since 1991.
Since 1991, they've been investing money to have the coup in
For
2014.
one country, for us, like a $20 trillion economy to invest, like, what was the number? 6 billion over the course of like 20 years or 10 years even. Like, that's laughably small. For
What was the quote again? Can you say it one more time?
Yeah, let's hear the quote again.
Since the USA had invested more than $5 billion since 1991 to help Ukraine achieve the future it deserves.
What does that mean? How does that mean that they're achieving a coup? That could mean, hey,
okay,
we're giving the money to help Ukraine get better.
Newland had leaked audio recordings handpicked
or 3 chocolates.
They didn't handpick. We've already.
Why is chocolates a strange gift?
Also, we saw that the National Endowment for Democracy's president said this
level
about
12
U.S.
Suave.
support. He said just 2 months before the Maidan protest broke out, he wrote that, quote, the opportunities are considerable, and there are important ways Washington could help. And this was in reference to the coup. This was the president of the National Endowment for Democracy.
There's nothing specific. It's all vague. It's nothing specific.
Yeah, so here's the question. Wait, where did the money?
$5 million go?
Yeah, where did the $5 billion
Fave
go?
jobs
So
love.
who received the money to start the coup? It's not the goalpost. This is where we're at. We're in the middle of the field. Like,
the thing is, I know about this because Putin said exactly. Putin said this specific thing, and the thing is, the $5
So
billion
she's from the game.
did
She
not
just
go
exists.
anywhere near a coup aid or anything. The $5 billion.
Where did it go then, Dylan?
So I know I'm asking you.
Oh God, here we go. He's starting to go off the rails.
Jackson, you said the $5 billion. No, Jackson,
where do you think $5 billion? Where do you think $5 billion from the U.S. State Department went?
Jackson, you said it. You said it.
I get it.
You can pretty easily logically infer.
Just other people.
Okay, pardon my interruption. Just to be sure that
Logically
people can hear each
infer.
of you make your point. So, just going in order, we'll go alphabetically, which is DHJ. So, okay, Dylan, and then Haas, and then Jackson.
Oh yeah, we've
So
seen
Jackson, you talked about the $5 billion. We're saying it did not go.
So she wants a
coup.
book,
I don't see no
$100,000.
evidence of this. This is something Putin repeated in
That's
his
a
speech,
really
which is a
expensive
lie.
book.
So I'm asking you, since you referenced the $5 billion and you have yet to show any evidence that anybody was handpicked, where did it go? Where did this $5 billion go for this coup?
So Dylan, I know you're a fucking dumbass and you can't put 2 and 2 together here. There is logically nowhere else the $5 billion could have gone.
So you don't know. You don't know.
It could have, logically speaking, it could
Wait,
have
so
gone anywhere
we
else.
don't
$5
date?
billion
Is that what you're
from
saying?
1990 Wait. Do you know the history of Ukrainian?
I think we need to
American
start
relations
like
since
putting
1994 to
gems into
2014?
that,
Dylan,
diamonds
really
into
finish
that.
my point.
$5 billion wouldn't have gone there
Unless
and
Jackson,
Mute him.
unless
Don't
Jackson
think-
has something.
Level 6
You don't think-
badass.
Yeah, mute
Jackson, I'm gonna give you a chance so you're
so I
not
can
left out.
respond.
How do I accomplish badassery?
Yeah, let him leave like a little
Oh, you might be on mute, Jackson. Let me unmute you. I think I put you on there earlier. Okay.
All right. Can you guys hear me?
Yep.
The Financial Times. You're right, Dylan. Sure, I don't have the exact bank wire transfers.
Oh, I
and
think
shit.
I think
You're right.
we need to
I'm
advance
just
her.
completely making all this stuff up. Financial Times though reported that
3
groups
Moonlight
like New
Strolls.
Citizen received this funding, and they said that they reported that this money played a big role in getting the protests up and running, referring to the Maidan protests. This was led, of course, by Andrei Perubi, who's a notorious neo-Nazi within Ukraine that called upon the firing of protesters and police in the protests. There was one other
Bulgy.
point you made that's slipping my mind right now, but yeah, I mean
It
sure,
doesn't.
we don't have
The
exact
atmosphere of
bank
the
wire-
debate doesn't help that they had these 12-minute intros, because I think it results in them all of them like getting into a pattern where they're speaking paragraphs and having trouble addressing one another. So I don't know why James modern day debate had them do it that way.
You know, Chris Murphy, John McCain, Victoria.
Because that's not how like
Nuland,
Eric
Jeffrey
Stryker
Keogh
and
going down the streets of
Destiny
Maidan, passing out cookies
went
to the
down.
protesters.
He's doing the Gish Gala.
And that was a way better debate, even though it was also a lot of shit screw.
15 more seconds, Jackson.
But this debate's pretty funny. It's still a good meme.
So let me finish. you cannot entertain, or you have to entertain the fact.
I guess if I do two fingers like this.
The fact that the funding began in 1991. 1 year directly after the effort upon
I need to unlock
NATO-aligned countries to bring Ukraine
I could
into
cheat
NATO.
and get like a clicker,
that lines up
clicker
perfectly
thing
with what the overarching mission at play here is of Victoria Nuland, to get the anti-NATO forces within Ukraine deposed from government, that's Yanukovych, and to get pro-NATO individuals in government to join NATO.
Gotta move over. Okay.
So I gotta respond to that, because the thing is, it's also 1 year after the collapse of the Soviet Union and Ukraine went into economic ruin. And the $5 billion is something Putin stated as well. That's referencing to the entirety of U.S.
modern day
aid to
bounty
Ukraine
hunters.
from that date
John
to
Marston.
2014. So you're telling me that the entirety of U.S. aid to Ukraine was made up of just going to coup stuff?
No,
when you
not
have
at
no
all.
evidence, no financial documents.
Yeah,
no
there's no
transactions,
financial.
no direct evidence of any sort, then any of that went towards resources towards a coup. It is reference to aid.
He named it.
No, he didn't. He named nothing.
You left because you're a little bitch. You weren't here.
No, he didn't. So where did it go? Where did it go? And what did the coup? What did this group
Okay,
do?
yeah.
That
Do you
did
have
the,
any
revolution?
specific shit?
Helped organize the protest. It was a
What
group
the
that
five?
helped-
So the $5 billion went to what?
What? Yeah. What did it go to?
I'm saying that Financial Times reported, again, you're right, I don't have the exact wire transfers. I'm not in these people's bank accounts. I'm just saying.
Why
it's a
is
little
he
bit
saying that?
suspicious.
Is it, dude? Like, okay, then don't make a fucking strong claim if you don't have the financial documents. You know, you can't just say something. That's like saying, oh, you know, Hitler didn't die in the bunker, but I have no history, like anything to back that up. You know, I just have intuition. It's as dumb as that.
We have Victoria Nuland saying that we have $5 billion.
Oh, but it's just a little
Ukraine
sus,
since
yeah.
1991. Victoria Nuland's office happens to be the same office in which the National Endowment for Democracy is located. They share an office in Ukraine. We have Financial Times
Speaking of
reporting that New
badass, we're gonna unlock
Citizen
that after.
received some of this money. Sure, probably, definitely not all $5 billion of it. And
Like
it
a
just
pro
so happens that
wrestler.
these protests,
Tonka
which were
Saw is gonna
Western-backed,
come in here.
and we know, according to this phone call, they were at least
That's the
sympathetic
chick
to
what
the,
gets his
you know,
dick,
leader
Steve.
Yatsenyuk, who became the prime minister directly after the protest. This stuff all lines up, and it just so happens.
There we go. We got it. I gotta respond.
So we haven't established,
So
we haven't
loud.
established a single fact. We haven't. We
Here
literally
we
haven't
go.
established a single fact.
We haven't established a single fact.
All we've seen. So all
With
we've seen.
so many facts, he
All
says.
we've seen is that in 1992,
Okay, now it's the
after
new
the
characters
dissolution of the
coming.
Soviet Union, the United States and Ukraine signed a bilateral deal with the United States, which sent aid to Ukraine to help them for a variety of things. They identified 3 strategic objectives:
Anything I
to
can do
create a
here?
broad-based market economy, to help build a participatory democratic political
So
system,
Nim
and to assist in social
wants
sector
dinner,
reforms to ease the difficulties of transition. That's where the money went
drones.
towards. The governments themselves were the
The
ones that were
vacuum at
organizing and
700
receiving the aid.
that
The idea
billion.
that you're trying to pretend that this $5 billion that's been allocated since 1992 somehow went through black market channels.
Dinners.
If it did, then we wouldn't
Hold
be
on.
talking about the $5 billion that the United
Pause one
States
of
said that it
these.
sent. This would be black money or dark money that's going through other channels that you wouldn't have any idea about. Or rather, it would have been established by like a WikiLeaks
Yeah,
leak
okay.
or something like
Yeah,
that.
it
The
would be-
idea that
it would be from
official US
WikiLeaks,
aid
like
that
from
was
an internal
agreed
leak,
upon
yeah,
by the
that you
Ukrainian
could
government,
verify.
that it was going to end up in the Ukrainian government, and then somehow the leaders in the Ukrainian government decided to allow that aid that they as a government agreed to accept to be funneled to groups that would
Yeah, wait,
eventually form a
what?
coup is ridiculous.
Why
A
would
lot of this
they
aid was
do that?
far-reaching.
Yeah.
It wouldn't surprise me if you could identify 1 or 2 groups that were
Some
involved
weird
in protests or
WMD
coups
shit.
that received this aid. Yanukovych probably had a lot of personal friends and probably people in the government that received that aid as well. The idea that that aid was used to back some sort of coup because you have a recording with 2 U.S. diplomats talking about a preference in leadership in
Nice.
a relatively volatile country. I don't understand
And
why you
locked-
think you can link
locked
these two
her.
things together. I can tell you right now that the United States sends so much aid all across the world. I could probably find aid going to every single fucking country that's ever had a revolution, that's ever had a coup, that's ever had any sort of political turmoil, and find 2 U.S. diplomats talking, expressing a. Can I finish one statement? I gotta finish.
I totally don't have.
Well, gee, I gotta finish a single. I have to finish a single statement.
Nothing else.
I have to finish a single statement.
So finally,
so to be clear, so the evidence we have is that since 1992, the United States has sent $5 billion to the Ukrainian government, not to secret groups, not to protest groups, not to future coups.
No definitive statement there.
Itself okayed this bilateral
agreement
to humanitarian aid, and the only evidence that we have, and the only evidence that let me finish. The only
maybe
this
one
that this went to fund a coup.
How much?
Yeah. Talking on the phone, expressing a preference for some
how much? How about you like actually demonstrate that connection then?
Let me go now, okay? Because this
Haas,
is actually really
not
simple.
Haas,
So first of all, there's,
fucking
many prongs
Jackson.
Fucking stupidity you just laid on my fucking table. Now the first thing is that you actually contradicted your little friend Dylan here, because Dylan the fucking liar just sat here and said that the $5 billion was
a big
economic
liar,
aid
big
to
fat
Ukraine.
liar.
It fucking wasn't, because Nuland herself, who publicly denies funding the Maidan coup, in the same sentence she utters denying it, said that the $5 billion since 1991 was there to promote democracy. And you know what that fucking means? It means promoting NGOs, civil society groups, and forces within the Ukrainian government that are aligned with the U.S. Now you're trying to make this allegation. It's absurd that they would fund the Ukrainian government that's later going to be overthrown. The thing is, the whole of the Ukrainian government wasn't overthrown. There are elements within the Ukrainian government that were against the president at that time. The coup was actually against the president, not the entire Ukrainian state itself. And even during the presidency of Yanukovych, before the 2014 Maidan, there was still a division of spheres of influence within the Ukrainian government between the Americans and the Europeans on one hand and the Russians. It was not a Russian puppet government by any stretch of the fucking imagination. It was still just as divided. And that $5 billion that was given to the Ukrainians since 1991
is still open, by the way. I might go back to that
that ultimately would culminate in the Maidan. Now Jackson literally gave you a concrete fucking example.
I could give another too, Haas.
Can you, Haas?
Of a group that received funds from this $5 billion, that participated, that was pivotal for it helped organize protests for the fucking Maidan.
The fucking Maidan, not just Maidan, the fucking Maidan. That's very important that you understand this.
That the U.S. was giving the Ukrainian government.
Draw me like one of your French
Bill the
girls.
fucking liar claimed was economic aid when it was not.
Oh, really?
It was political influence.
So can I get a commitment on it? Can you give me a commitment that none of this money went to economic?
No, you're shifting the goalpost.
Wait, no,
how is that shifting the goalpost?
You're shifting the goalpost.
There it is.
Some of it may have had
Can't give a specific. Not a good sign.
Primarily to promote.
Gotta finish up the sentence.
You made it seem like it was primarily
armchair conspiracy theories.
That's not even true. Okay, that's not even true.
It's not true.
So yeah, number one, 1.1 billion of it went to economic growth. 2.4 billion went to things like military assistance, border security, human trafficking issues, international narcotics abatement, law enforcement induction. That's actually the majority of it. The majority of that is not promoting democracy. It would actually be labeled under promoting peace and security when you talk about things like human trafficking, which is a legitimate.
Tell Nuland that.
Oh God.
Let me finish. I'm just telling you the exact money amounts, where it's going, and you're rejecting it. I'm telling you exact money. And the thing is about that, human trafficking, after the collapse of the Soviet Union, there was a lot of issues when it comes to children being sold into sexual slavery. There was a lot of issues with
the CIA is involved with.
Okay, yeah, just make a claim.
He can't just keep screaming into his microphone, jacked up as loud as possible.
You wanna cry about it?
I'm trying. Okay.
You want to cry about it?
Okay, so back to the issue. This is why a lot of this money went to Ukraine. It went to things to deal with things
Get
like human
nose
trafficking.
piercing,
It went there to deal with economic aid after the economic
Carnival's
collapse of the
7.
Soviet Union. Some of it, of course, some of it went to 800 million of it went to governing just.
Not the biggest. Garrett's not my favorite, personally.
400 million went to investing in people.
Not really
We
my
can get into
type,
specifics
but
if you want to break that down. But there is no evidence.
He's so scared
of the $5 billion.
He's scared of Chica.
Black sites or anything of this sort. The majority of this money didn't even have to do with democracy necessarily.
How are we doing in chat?
We gotta go into Q&A shortly, but I know that Jackson, I think you wanted to say something.
So yeah, I would like to say something. So we also have the fact that
Or
at the start of
2/3 of the way
Maidan
done.
protests, the three
This
new
is the
TV
meme.
shows
This
in
is where the
Ukraine
fun
that,
memes
news
come.
TV shows that were covering the protests and working with opposition were Hromadski.tv.
Hromadski.
And there was two
TV,
other ones.
So now we're getting into more disinfo.
While I find these, I also want to note that these 3 TV stations received funding from the Dutch and U.S. embassies, as well as the Renaissance Foundation, which was funded by George Soros.
Ooh,
the other 2 were
spooky George
Soros.
Soros.
And
Neoliberal.
I don't know how to pronounce that. And George Soros, during the coup, the Maidan coup himself, admitted, quote, "I set up a foundation in Ukraine before Ukraine became independent of Russia, and the foundation has been functioning ever since, and it played an important part in the Maidan events right now." And then the third point, because again, you've alleged that I can't provide evidence for this, I've also provided the New Citizen organization, which was involved in the coup. We also have Yevhen Karas, who is the leader of Ukraine's neo-Nazi terror gang, C-14, which again helped lead the coup. He was the guy who said that if it were not for the 2% of neo-Nazis that were active within the Maidan protests, it would have been 90% less effective and successful. He said, quote, "We are now being given money, so much weapons, not because as some say the West is helping us, not because they want the best for us."
Oh, that's kind of a cool tattoo.
We perform the tasks by the West because we are the only ones who are ready to do
devouring mints, tiptoes up behind you, etc.
Because we have fun killing, and we have fun fighting. And
wow, he's fucking jacked as fuck.
Let's see what's gonna happen.
Can I do a thing, because we're going into Q&A soon? Let's actually say, if Dylan will allow me, let's actually grant all of this. Let's say that there was a coup. Let's say that there was some revolution for some reason. Future leadership is still maintaining a lot of popularity throughout most of Ukraine. Let's say that all of that
he is hot when he's
was
shirtless.
cool, all that shit.
Anyway,
what right does that give Russia to invade Ukraine?
Speaking of hot,
oh, that's very simple.
What's going on in here?
That for the start. So we talked about the balance of security.
Oh, there's a lot of people that we just
Ukraine was planning on upsetting.
Oh, that looks like Eli.
NATO. But that alone, you're right.
It's like the same kind of character.
Invasion,
yeah.
Which is why Russia kept trying to negotiate with its Western partners for some 8-9 years about this issue, leading to fucking nowhere. To the point where they finally tried to negotiate with Ukraine also about the issue of the Donbass to settle a peace. And Ukraine signed the Minsk agreement to have a ceasefire in the Donbass. As
one of the shots goes astray. Oh no!
Ukraine made it very clear that it had no intention to implement the Minsk agreement, which said that they would lead to the destruction of our country. And we had to sign it at gunpoint by Russia.
She's like Rainbow Dash.
What? Ukraine's continued attacks against the people of the Donbass. They're what amounts to basically a genocide. The constant shelling of civilian infrastructure and the daily terrorism experienced by the people of the Donbass by Ukraine's armed forces in the Azov battalion. Russia decided to step in finally and recognize the republics. And when those republics became sovereign in Russia's eyes, and Russia did this by the way.
Can we do this simply instead of rambling about the entire history of the? We're gonna ramble the whole.
When those republics continued
to
be shelled and attacked after they were recognized.
He's just sprouting off history. Yeah, he does this every time he can't answer a question. He just
fucking
talks about everything he knows.
That's why I wasn't listening to what he was saying. It's so dumb.
Than to protect and guarantee its own security as a country, as well.
So my question then is. So my question
is to protect the people of the Donbass.
So my question is, why does the security of Russia supersede the security of the Ukrainian people? When you open this with the quote about how the security of one country.
Sure, because the security of the Ukrainian people was never under threat by Russia. It's NATO who is tipping its balance in the.
How is the security of Russia under threat by NATO?
How is the security of Russia under
there you go,
sure,
side
NATO
by side of those characters.
Of disrespecting the sovereignty of other countries and invading other countries.
Like Russia does right now with Ukraine.
Level 14 smart. I can't
This is a fucking self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yet.
Russia's doing what it's doing in Ukraine to prevent NATO aggression against Russia. Russia has no plan on.
So why can't Ukraine have legitimate
Russia
security?
Doesn't
you have to like fucking mold them over in order to. Wow.
Russia, the Soviet Union absolutely has in the past, and Russia's absolutely looking forward to the future.
Russia is not the Soviet Union, and second of all, the Soviet Union did not fucking export its system by military force. No, it didn't.
It absolutely did.
No, it fucking didn't.
Absolutely
Name a single example of that.
All three of the Baltics
become a
nuisance.
The Baltics were not taken by the Soviet Union to expand its system, but because it was a form of revanchism for the former territories of the Russian Empire.
The countries were invaded, had their parliament disposed of, and then took votes and held referendums to join the Soviet Union. Sounds similar? Like Crimea. Russia, the Soviet Union has a huge history of doing this.
Public referendum, 96%.
Yeah, not crazy how after you get been invaded. Crazy.
What the
Hold on, wait, whoa.
What the fuck?
I can't even finish my question.
Continue to say that it was.
I can't even finish my question.
It was.
I have to
Cannot say that.
I just
spoken for a while.
Let me quickly finish this point about
Oh my God.
15 seconds. First of all,
Oh God, yeah, this is where we go totally off the rails.
do
Let's
wanna-
then
go.
the Russian military came.
Hey, come on.
Dylan's been waiting for a long time. I do want
They declared independence before.
Okay, so what's really interesting
So
about the
he's
Crimea thing is
he
it
has
keeps
the
bringing up
timeline
referendum.
wrong, but he
Jackson,
keeps
can you tell
screaming
me
it.
What were the options on the
That's
referendum?
one of the best
Two
parts.
choices.
They declared independence before the
Wait, no, Jackson, could you answer that question quick?
They declared independence.
No, I'm asking Jackson a question. I didn't ask. What were the two
96%
options?
of the people
What were the
When I
options on
want
the
to
referendum?
join the Russian
What were the options on the referendum? What were the two options?
96 the
What were the two
majority of
options?
people
Answer
in
my question.
Crimea voted
Yeah, okay, nice. Good job holding it feet to the fire, Dylan. Good.
What were the two
Answer the fucking question. What are the two options? What are the two?
Answer my question.
Yeah.
It was 'cause they already
He's not
had
answering the
independence.
question. Yeah.
You made him answer
That's
the question.
not a good look.
He's not gonna answer my question. He's dodging it.
Russian
Okay, so the reason, it's my time
to
to talk if he's not answering my
just for a
question.
second. Okay, so I do want to give. I want to go back to Dylan. We'll give him a chance, and then we'll give you a chance to answer the question. Jackson, Infra, I've got.
They had already declared independence.
I totally forgot that fucking up.
So the reason why Jackson isn't answering my question is because the two options, neither of them was joining back with Ukraine. So there was
Because they already chose not to do
Jesus
that.
fuck.
Shut up, please. Jesus Christ. So the reason why a lot of people, including like Crimean Tatars and others,
Oh, God.
boycotted.
Oh my God.
The reason,
Oh no, it took her.
the reason why.
They had already declared independence before.
James, I can't do it, man.
You can't 'cause you're a They declared
Oh my God.
Russians came. They
James,
Now he's fucking overriding the moderator.
Let's go to Dylan.
I never got to finish.
Wow.
I didn't even
Suddenly,
get to say
she
what
likes
I
me.
about. You didn't even let me lie yet. I'm about to
Because
lie.
they had already declared independence.
Let me lie.
Infrared.
Okay, let me tell my evil Western lies, and that okay,
inbred.
so you can like talk later. Okay, so my evil Western lie is that neither of the options on the referendum was to join Ukraine. It was A, join Russia formally, or B, be an independent state heavily influenced by the Russian government.
Is that what it
Those
said,
were the
Dylan?
two.
Is that
that's
exactly
not
what it
That's
said?
not the exact words. There was a lot.
You're
okay.
fucking
James, let me get this point in. I'll stop interrupting.
I kind of wish in Blush Blush they talked more like about stuff like that.
About the snipers.
James, I can't debate if I can't even talk. I can't.
Bullshitting about Crimea.
What was the question that you had, Dylan? That we do have.
I don't even have a question anymore. I'm just trying to say something, and they won't.
Yeah,
listen.
now they act insufferable.
No, I don't care.
Like,
I don't care.
what point?
Give me 15 seconds.
Jesus
Give me
Christ.
15 seconds.
Couldn't
We-
answer
Fair
the
to Dylan,
question.
he had waited a long time.
One thing is, I love that Destiny play. You'll see Destiny plays this game with fucking Haas. He jacks up his mic too.
And or it was inconvenient to him, but neither of the
But
options.
Dylan
was
doesn't.
whether
Dylan just
Crimea
shouts
could
and gives
join
up
back
multiple times, walks away.
with Ukraine. And the problem is that I don't care. Has please for the love of God.
They had already formed.
Q&A.
Wait,
No, James, let me get this last point in. I've been trying to get in.
Nice.
Let me get one last. 10 seconds.
Oh, we've reached the next stage. Sweet.
10 seconds.
Constantly difficult.
Give me 10 seconds.
No, just find a way to fit it into one of these questions. This one coming
Just
in
find
from
a way to
Ozzy
fit
and
it
Talk says,
in, yeah.
Putin destroyed Russia, and there is no way back from
Narcolepsy.
them without
How much are
Putin
the
stepping
drinks?
down and Russia apologizing. European Union should join NATO. Putin will go down in history as an example of one of the worst global leaders ever. Save the kids.
One addition: Russia should also pay reparations.
Yeah. I'll answer that
Oh, this is
question
funny.
very easily. So Crimea had already declared its formal.
Wait, that
Dude,
was
that-
the question.
Yeah, he's trying to squeeze
Fuck up,
it.
you little bitch.
Damn.
Shut
the fuck up. Yeah, wait, where are the drinks?
Crimea had already declared formal
Oh, there they are.
independence
Could they do
before
How many
the
did you want?
referendum.
Could they do that under
Wow,
the Ukrainian
so-
constitution?
So
they
bent
didn't
on
need to because it was overthrown in a coup. The Ukrainian
It was
president
overthrown in a coup.
coup. So the Constitution is in the air and it's out of the fucking window, you fucking dumbass.
Why
The
is
Constitution matters for thee, but not.
Not when there's a coup. That's suspected. James, why do you keep fucking
because you're screaming, Haas.
10 minutes, but you keep me.
You're fucking soy screaming.
Mute him once.
Do you think that a coup violates?
You don't fucking mute him once. Let me fucking.
Can I? Oh, wait.
The Constitution is thrown into the air.
Kick him. Just kick him.
When there's
Just
a
kick him.
fucking
Kick him.
illegal
Kick him.
coup.
You gotta kick him.
Dude, he's like not
His
respecting
timetable-
anything.
his
He's so
timetable isn't even
disrespectful.
accurate. The Declaration of Independence for Crimea took place after.
Dylan's literally acting like a coup doesn't violate the sovereignty of a given.
Wait, real quick. Just because Haas keeps screaming this, the Declaration of
Moonlight
Independence from
Stroll,
Crimea happened
that's what she
after
wants, yeah.
the Russian invasion.
For
the fact
Moonlight
that he's trying to say
Strolls,
that happened
yeah.
prior to that isn't even true. Russian troops were on the ground in February. In late February, Russia was pushing into Crimea. The Declaration of Independence was on March 16th.
What does it mean pushing into Crimea? Go ahead.
As in, Russian troops rolled through the area with little resistance and took over the entire fucking peninsula.
I wonder why there was little resistance, because they had already expressed and declared their intention to be fucking independent.
Even if they had, sections of your country cannot just vote themselves to join another country that has military bases in that peninsula aggressively positioned to go and invade you. It doesn't work that way. That's not how sovereignty works.
Oh, okay, nice. More time.
This one coming in from
Oh, and now it's in the symbols
I never got to
again.
respond to Jackson's question about sovereignty. I want to answer it.
I can learn to be angsty.
Okay, so Jackson asked me
Brooding.
if a coup violates a nation's sovereignty.
That's funny.
It depends on who actually does the coup. If the people of said nation
Wait, did I just
overthrow the
unlock
government,
smart?
I believe they're allowed
Nice,
to do
let's
that.
do that.
And so that's what they
Look
did
at how
in that
smart I
instance
am.
because the Yanukovych regime was morally corrupt and worked against the interests of the people. Sorry, there you go.
There was no votes for the coup, Dylan.
That's not how coups work.
The majority of
They had an
people.
election. They had an election after.
There wasn't even a majority that wanted to join the EU. Not even at the time.
I think we need another mute here on the Moscow man.
The Moscow manlet.
Gentlemen, I need to do this with both of you, but both
You bitch ass gnome.
because we do have to get the next question.
Destiny, his torso is big though. He's short.
Here we go.
We're getting from Ken.
He just has a long torso.
He has a long torso.
Sid from Ice Age. He has the body of Sid from Ice Age. He has the body of Sid from Ice Age.
The body of Sid. The body. I'm sorry. It's blowing everyone's ears. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. The body of Sid from Ice. The body of Sid from Ice Age.
Also, Russia has a huge Nazi problem. In parentheses, Limonov.
Okay.
Literally made Nazbols.
What does the masquerade look? Let's see what this masquerade looks like.
You know, I have trouble
Just curious.
pronouncing these.
Are we allowed?
Fuck.
Are we allowed to answer that question? Are we allowed to answer that question? Or who is that? Who is that question? Who is that question addressed to?
Can we answer?
Romanov is an anarchist. Have you read anything about Romanov, the fucking dumbass asking that question?
answering that question. Yeah, he's got his audio insane. I don't even know what he did.
Jackson, but it's just
Why is it that?
Oh, that's kind of cool.
I feel like we should be condemning, crimes against humanity and war crimes.
Yeah, let's
on
do
both
his
sides of
masquerade,
this.
'cause
That's
it's
why I
gonna
support
take
the
a while.
International Criminal Court investigation into war crimes that have taken place here since 2013, which the media seems to be leaving out of the announcement of this ICC investigation and the
Might wanna
preliminary
switch over to Nair
examination
at some point
into
here.
war crimes and crimes against humanity here. But the thing is, if you're going to talk about
Nair and
war
Sino
crimes
do
and
the
crimes
usual
against humanity
housekeeping.
and civilian casualties taking place right now in Ukraine, then you better be talking about them taking place in Donetsk and Luhansk still today, and the ones that have taken place there overwhelmingly in this conflict that has been waged asymmetrically by Ukraine, by the Azov
Okay.
battalion in particular in
At
eastern
le-
Ukraine.
like the fact that Haas
since
makes Jackson look
2014.
stable is
People
really
seem to leave
funny.
that out.
Yeah, wait, can we all agree that that would be a good idea then? I think that Russia should pull its troops and respect Ukraine's sovereignty, and then after they do that, we can have an independent investigation to see if there were any...
That's like that was Haas's argument when he was talking to Bosch about Syria.
Who started
and expressed their will to be independent. So that was before the
Wait, that's
Russian.
not even
Wait.
a topic anymore.
Yeah, that's not even what is being discussed anymore. They aren't even talking about
Who
the
launched the
topic.
first war crimes and crimes against humanity here in this conflict?
Okay, can I?
At least not on this topic. It is generally on
But I wanted
topic,
to-
but
Can I
Because
agree
he
with you?
made a
I'm trying to.
statement. That was a question for Destiny.
Jackson, I want to agree with you.
Destiny, who did it?
Can I? Okay, I won't agree with you. Then.
I won't agree with you. What?
Destiny, who did it? Do you even know?
Who
Do you
did
even know
it?
what the first war crimes or crimes against humanity committed here were?
We should let independent organizations go in and
fucking
investigate.
dumbass. You don't
We
even-
should let
Why-
nothing
what-
that you're saying justifies a
Jackson,
Russian
you didn't know the
invasion.
Crimean
It's so easy. It's so easy.
Dude,
It's so easy.
he's so
It's
weaselly.
it's
Stick to
so
whatever
easy.
fucking
It's so
Minecraft.
easy. Yeah, go quote
Like,
random
dude,
US
yeah.
diplomats that you saw on an RT post.
And
about how
also
that
just
proves
pivot
that
away
Russian
from
was involved in a
everything.
coup.
Just like with Vosh, and then accuse him of being like
which you claim to care about.
bad faith.
What does every single international court say about what is every what does every single international court say about Russia's annexation of Crimea?
3 days? Okay.
What does the international?
No, let him answer. Let him answer that. Let him answer that. Let him answer that. Let him answer that.
Oh, that's a great question.
Pivoting Stephen.
Who
Pivoting
recognizes the Russian
Stephen.
annexation of Crimea?
That's a great question, Destiny, because the International Criminal Court has said that the crimes against humanity and war
he
crimes
doesn't. There you go.
started in
He
this
doesn't have an
conflict.
answer.
I'll be right
From
back.
Ukraine.
Actually, I have
That's a
to do
great
something.
point.
I have to do something really quick. Respond to something. I probably should respond to that. I'll be right back. We'll continue. And yeah. It's just talking and no one can hear me. We're back. How is everyone? How are y'all hanging in there? We're almost done. Except we're on the funniest part. So, you know what? Let's keep going, because right now it's funny. So, let's go. Mainstream.
There it is.
This is the funniest part. Because they're going to talk over each other this whole time.
Pivoting pussy.
Let Dylan speak.
I've been attempting to do something dastardly, and
That's
that's actually
dastardly
agree with Jackson for a
daring.
second. And I actually do agree that there have been a lot of war crimes actually committed in Donetsk
Can
and
these
Luhansk. And one of actually the biggest issues
motherfuckers
I point to
upstairs
is it
not
has to do with water
walk
security.
around like
I
they're
believe it was
carrying
UNICEF that wrote a
fucking
report about water
500
security
pound
issues, and they're
bags?
caused by the war. It's just I don't
They
believe
literally walk
the
with their
best way to
heels.
deal with human
It's
rights
so
abuses
bad.
on either side is to expand the conflict, because now electricity, water security, all these
ever
resources
seen what his
are now gonna be
masquerade
even
looks like?
harder
I
to
can't
come by in
remember,
not
so
only
let's
Donetsk,
take a look.
Luhansk, but in the rest of Ukraine as well. We've already heard about like reports in Mariupol and
Let's move into the next one.
yeah, I'm trying to agree with Jackson. I mean, we already heard about reports in Mariupol and other locations about critical civilian infrastructure being undermined. And so the best thing to do, well,
So Dylan, I have a question back for you.
I do.
Wow. Oh yeah, we've seen this.
Shut the fuck up.
Sorry,
Shut the fuck up.
For you.
Yeah, I could have sworn you
We
did.
have so
Okay.
many questions. from chat.
I agree with you. I agree with you. So why is it? Why is
James, mute him. James, mute him.
Yeah, like shut the fuck up.
005 says, how long does a group of people need to live in a land in order to
Dumb
have
fucks.
a claim to it? People say that the Russians in Ukraine were imported.
This
there
reset
200 years
boost
ago,
limit
but
is
we can say the
annoying.
same for any group of people going back enough.
Oh, we did. Okay.
Destiny, who took Mariupol in 2015?
39 confidence.
It was the Azov Battalion, you fucking idiot. Just because they're not the majority.
They were involved in
fucking
one military operation. That's crazy.
Of a whole city? Of a whole city?
100 boat rides,
Of a whole
huh?
city? For Vladimir Putin? And you're saying they're marginal?
I can't hear you, Jackson. It's impossible.
This one coming in from Jackson. Do you have something?
Yeah, no, I agree with what Dylan said. I condemn war crimes, crimes against humanity on both sides.
Such a
I think they should
non-answer.
be investigated. People should be held accountable.
Oh,
We
I
have to
condemn
recognize, though, who started
murder.
This, and you made a good point about that. The thing is, though, do you not?
I condemn
give
a
any
violation
credit
of moral
to
law. I condemn
Vladimir
rape,
Putin for
alright?
trying to
Rape
get
is
everyone
bad.
to adhere to the Minsk Accords for years and years and years. That would have
Look
brought
at
an
it,
end to
it's
this
playing a
brutality.
guitar.
Nobody
To it.
Ukraine?
Or
It
a
was violated
ukulele.
on both sides continuously.
Guitar.
That's why the second set didn't even get signed.
Who violated it first and who expressed an
And both
unwillingness to
sides say
implement
both sides violated
Who
first. It was
expressed an
violated.
unwillingness to implement it.
My soul.
Ukraine literally said they had
That
no
is
intention to
screaming.
implement it despite signing it.
Get turn it down,
This
please.
is going to be in from the space for your question. Hinkle, if this unjustified invasion was done by Russia to protect the people in the Donetsk and Luhansk regions, why does Belarus have details for invasion
Oh, I
plans
should play
for
Bionicle
Moldova?
Heroes again. But I can't
Based
play
on
it with
what
this
evidence?
setup.
Show me the evidence.
Oh, that's actually from Belarus. Lukashenko, he showed a map on screen during a
because I have
speech, I
to
think, 2
aim.
days ago, where it showed invasion plans from
Alright.
Transnistria, specifically, not Moldova.
They could be contingency plans. How do you know those are invasion plans? Those could be contingency
Okay, get
plans
ready
in
for
case,
weird
events
audio
change.
changes.
Maybe, I have no clue. I mean,
Here we go.
Listen, that seems to be a development that we are either not.
Please
aware
load
of or
back
don't have
in.
the intelligence to answer completely. I'm
Oh,
not
and
gonna
now
be
you're
like
gonna be
that.
nuanced, huh?
If we test Putin and Putin turns out to be like a full-blown raging sociopath, and he can
But he already is, though. See, this is the thing, is like he'll always say that no matter what comes out, right? That's the mentalistic strategy there. That's totally he would just keep going. It's like, oh well, no, that's not too bad. Okay, if he does this and then the thing happens, oh well, I mean the same thing happened with Trump, arguably.
continues on and does disgusting things at a grotesque level, then of course I'm not going to defend him or anything like that. But what we have to understand is that, and I thought this
Despite
is
the
where
fact that
question was
he
going,
violated the
right
Geneva
now,
Convention the night that they were debating
it's not
this.
just about Donetsk and Luhansk. Putin is asking for, he's not even asking for Zelensky to step down or his, government to step down. He's just, Putin is just asking for demilitarization of Ukraine, which means removal
You
of
kind of worry. Here, has the tea.
weaponry.
I'm
He's
gonna lay
asking
some
for
truth
no
on
NATO
ya.
membership
I will
ever.
tell you, the
I
best way to
guarantee
face
that.
destiny
And he's also asking for, yes,
is
the
head
ending
on.
of the slaughtering of
So
civilians in
I
Donetsk
love
and
the skin
Luhansk.
you're in, and
those are
okay.
what they're fighting over right now, and it's a very restrained peace
What else is he asking for?
He also made requests to the United States and the European
The
Union
level
during
39
negotiations
continent.
before the invasion that they end nuclear guarantees for Eastern Europe and also pull troops out of Eastern Europe as well.
That has nothing to do with the terms of a ceasefire and peace, withdrawing troops.
Okay,
that was prior to whatever happened.
Yeah,
that was
but it was during it was still
Yeah,
but it was still part of the negotiation. But I want to
no,
wait,
he's not going to the negotiating
Oh
table
my
asking
God.
for that right now, Dylan.
I'm gonna stop trying, James. I'm gonna stop.
That's for the Americans in Europe.
Oh, we got a new job.
You heard Jackson saying he's not going to the negotiating
I can
table.
be a programmer
Dylan?
now.
Okay, so the first thing I want to say is they are actually Zelensky and the Russian government are actually negotiating
characters,
right
huh?
now. I think they just actually negotiated, thank goodness, like a humanitarian corridor.
There's lots
hopefully.
of people.
I don't know if that's going to be placed in places like Kherson and Mariupol. I hope it is soon. I don't know when that's going to be implemented. They are negotiating, but that's ongoing negotiation process. I thought the question was broader about all the demands made of Putin's government up into this, but I did want to include that. I
Fun
also
to
do
play
want to say
with, but I
that you
look
said
weird.
if
Huh?
he goes crazy,
I
I
mean,
would
this
just
is
say,
what we're playing. Yeah, he
attack
does
of
look
the
a little
nuclear
weird.
facility
He also has a
tonight,
really
which caught it on
sharp line.
fire, is something I would be extremely
And a little
concerned
bulge.
about. Considering
I'll answer that.
Little
So
punch.
first of all,
I wasn't finished.
He's built like Sid from
let's-
Ice
then
Age.
Let's cut both of you off. Lewis says, question for Infrared and Hinkle, how exactly is the RT network not misinformation and propaganda if it is literally Russia today? Quote,
Sure.
because they said it
Yeah,
Whenever
Russia
we ask for
today.
concrete
by the Russian
instances,
government.
whenever we ask for concrete instances of misinformation of what we report from RT and in our recent reports, we have get nothing. Nobody's ever able to come up with any actual instance in which they're lying. Destiny fucking soyed out and raged.
Soyed out. Here we go. Here come the
They were
memes.
covering the humanitarian situation where 50,000 had to be evacuated from the Donbass, and he literally lost his shit and fucking he started soying out and started crying like a little bitch.
Soying out and crying like a little
He wasn't actually
bitch.
able to point out why it was
Little
misinformation,
bitch.
what lies are
Little bitch.
Keep these questions
Yeah.
coming.
Wait, can I ask you a
I'm
question about
Steven,
that?
and
Did
I
Russia
like
ever pull troops from
incest.
eastern Ukraine in accordance with the first Minsk agreement that you guys said that they were a party to?
What are you talking about?
Why, Destiny? Why should they adhere to any of the Minsk agreement if Ukraine is already coming out
Gotcha.
and
So
saying
nobody.
Ukraine
Just to be clear, nobody
displayed
ever
any
adhered to the
intention to
Minsk
implement
agreement.
them.
Nobody
First of
ever
all, two
adhered to
things.
it. Nobody ever adhered to it. This is why they were a monumental
These
failure.
signatories to the most recent
James, what's the next
Minsk
question?
Yeah.
The signatories to
This is
the
my
most
mood
recent
right now with
agreement
this
between
debate.
I don't
the
want to
Donetsk and Lugansk republics in Ukraine.
from the gray
Russia wasn't
zone?
even part of them.
There's like
Second of all, as far as the
I
Minsk
am
agreement,
tapping.
the Ukrainian
Jump to the
government
next question.
has never displayed a willingness to implement them.
Never display the
Turn that
willingness.
There's
huh?
video
This one's coming in
evidence
from
of you being shorter than me. Do you know that?
No, there isn't, actually.
Becky Morager.
There literally isn't.
Question for
Video
Do you want to
evidence.
bet money on it?
Fred. Okay, they said if the annexation
So this
of
is like
Crimea
the-
was justified,
you're
were
a
the
man.
annexation of Texas and other territories justified
You're fucking-
during the
you're little.
Mexican-American War?
Oh, he said that earlier. He's short.
The difference here is
No,
that
this is in our favor.
He's like my
The
height.
US
Destiny
annexed
is.
Texas in an even worse. They annexed the Mexican territories in an even worse way. Texas first declared its independence and then joined the U.S. in a similar way that Crimea declared independence and then joined Russia.
Wait, were there international bodies claiming what you could or could not annex at the point when the United
All right,
States was annexing
let's
territory?
pivot
in the
back to
Western
Max
US?
Payne.
What do you mean international bodies claiming which?
When
you
we
can
say
and
something is
cannot?
allowed or not allowed, usually it's with
Oh,
respect
because the
to
West says it's not okay. Is that what you're saying? Because the West says you can't.
now they're
do
gonna
it?
be like
things
shit
the UN,
talking.
like the Soviet, or I'm sorry, Russia's party to these organizations as well. Like,
And
what
the
do you mean?
shit talking is.
You
It's
can't
fun
say like
to
the United States do
play a
something
game
like
too.
illegal in the
UN is not the
1700s or the
be-all, end-all.
1800s
The
when
UN
these
is not the
international
be-all.
bodies don't even
The
exist.
UN
It doesn't
is-
make any
the
sense.
UN is not the be-all, end-all. To
I suppose we can do that one
Destiny-
short
Destiny,
mission
did it
again and
adhere
try
to,
to.
international law
get,
when
like,
there was a
silver or
coup
gold
against
on
the
it.
democratically elected government before the Crimea referendum?
Yeah, let's do it.
I don't know what international law would have justified a Russian invasion. Can you fill me in on that?
You know what? I actually.
You don't have an answer for that. That's right.
No.
You don't care about international law. You don't.
Oh, here we go.
Let me finish here.
Destiny, do you need pass for gynecomastia? Gynecomastia, Steven.
I'm actually not surprised. That Destiny didn't know the answer to that question because, again, his debate partner earlier on claimed that there was a legal impeachment, even though it didn't even meet the legal qualifications of the Ukrainian constitution. So I'm not very surprised.
5-star this.
Destiny, would you say that you're skinny fat? Would you say that you're a fat guy who's
Would you say you're skinny fat?
Called a liar though. If you call somebody, I just want to say that. Okay.
Did they get 3/4 of the votes?
Let me.
Would you say you're skinny fat?
I wanted to say something because
Are you a skinny guy who's fat in lips?
I do want to give him a chance to respond.
Why does he say this?
I think he's going to the bathroom.
What's the point?
Dylan? All right. Well, this one coming in from Chris Morlock says, Dylan and Destiny, do you deny that 4,000 ethnic Russian civilians, 80% of civilian deaths, have been killed in the Donbass? I mean, I don't know if I'm saying.
Why do we keep using this, Jackson?
He
This
keeps
is like the
saying
RT
it,
propaganda.
yeah,
Do you know that
over
like
and
83% of civilian deaths have come from Eastern Ukraine? Yeah, the civil war is in Eastern Ukraine. It's not like there are going to be Western Ukrainians killed in Eastern Ukraine. I don't understand. I don't understand what
Say, why would they
Russians.
Yeah, because the majority of some of these places is ethnically Russian. Those are the
yeah.
Ukraine attacking a place.
Oh, what a revelation! What a
right now
shocker!
there is a civil war there that is being funded and supported by Russia. They're trying to establish sovereignty in their own borders.
Okay, Jackson, go ahead.
So Ukraine can commit genocide then, right?
That's a genocide. They're targeting and trying to erase the ethnicity of a certain group of people.
No.
Hold on, all right.
More or less, yes. They're trying to eliminate the Russians.
I have a response to this.
Destiny.
Hold on, Jackson, I promise I'll come right back to you. I know that. Hold on, just bear with me,
Oh
Jackson.
shit!
I understand.
Oh wow! I can't believe I
He's barely
landed
gotten to
that hit.
talk, James. This is ridiculous.
All right, hold on. I promise, Jackson, we'll come back to you. But Dylan, I know that you said you wanted to address someone called you a liar.
This is more important to me, actually. I would say I'm a dirty liar. But Secretary General, I want to specifically, the Secretary General of the United Nations actually commented on the accusations of genocide by.
I love how this like rustling. I think Destiny's playing the game. That's what this audio is. This weird.
And the UN is the be-all, end-all for.
I'm not saying it's
Russia should be the be-all, end-all.
I feel like that was very low before. Fuck.
The Secretary General of the United Nations said that there is not a genocide in the Donbass.
Okay, well, first of all,
former Prime Minister of Portugal.
Hey, let me finish. First of all,
I like how now Jackson's getting pissed.
Genocide.
Well, I was talking about that earlier. Somebody did. Was it you or Haas?
I didn't say that. Second of all, hey, let me finish.
That was the Kremlin gremlin.
Destiny made an
The
accusation.
Kremlin gremlin.
Why do we keep touting these RT propaganda lines that 81% of the people, civilians rather, who are dying in the Eastern Ukraine conflict are Russians, that are ethnic Russians, whatever you said. That's not what I said. I said that 81% of the civilians are dying in rebel-held territory, and that's not from RT. That's what the United Nations said. So apparently you now are confused between RT and the United Nations official sources. I'm confused as to just how serious you are about this debate.
I'm confused. Let me see if I could actually change the resolution of the game.
Wait, was that? I'm sorry. The Leningrad leprechaun just threw me off. Can you repeat your question?
The Leningrad leprechaun.
Talking about body types, you have the most grotesque.
Oh shit!
Disgusting, skinny. That's Sid from Ice Age.
Sid from Ice Age.
Destiny, my question to you was A.
Yeah, he does like talk about Sid from Ice Age. Is that his otherkin?
Why did you call it RT
Keeps unmuting himself.
when these are United Nations figures, A, and B,
Which should be honestly a kickable offense, because that's like you're not listening to the moderator.
Donbass, when I said that these are people who are dying in rebel-held territories, which is distinct from the opposite side of the gray zone.
Wait, what was the first thing said by you?
I don't know if.
Bonnell, it looks like Sid from Ice Age. You know, he has fucking.
Beta male Bonnell.
He's got gyno.
He's got a gyno.
He literally has gyno.
No, all right. Jackson said something. Go ahead.
Beta male Bonnell.
Just destroying my ability to hear anything. Can you?
Beta male Bonnell.
Dude, okay, yeah, just
he's fucking built like fucking Sid from Ice Age. Just a long torso.
He's just a long torso.
Let's go to Jackson.
He's talking about other people.
No.
He's talking about other people's
Jump to
appeal.
the next question.
Beta male Bonnell, you look like
Holy
a
shit.
Jack says Dylan and Destiny.
Wait, I couldn't even hear it. The Russian runt was screaming so much.
Now we're doing this acronym.
Was there a claim that the UN
these,
has said that there was
alliteration.
an ongoing genocide?
Oh,
in
that
Burma?
was shit.
No, you fucking
they said the
dipshit.
opposite.
You said it was RT propaganda that 81%
Yeah, let's
of the
retry
people
that.
died
Holy
on
shit.
rebel.
No, I didn't say that the
rebel land.
claim itself is propaganda. I'm just saying that repeating that.
Try it
means-
one more
You said it
time
was
and then I'll
RT
change.
propaganda talking
Let me. I can
points.
tell you.
That's a
Yes,
claim from the
talking
United
points.
Nations
Talking
data.
points.
Talking
What I'm saying is
points.
That's what you said.
Yeah. Do you want me to tell you what I said, or you're just gonna keep screaming like your friend over here? Right? The question is why we shouldn't be surprised to see that the majority of people dying in a Russian ethnic majority area are going to be ethnically Russian. That's not surprising.
No, listen, people fight for.
That's not Haas. That's not what I said. I said they're dying in rebel-held territory. The 81% are. Not that they're all ethnically. Russian.
What is the percentage of ethnically Russian people in the
Double D
rebel-held
Destiny.
area?
Double D Destiny.
Moscow Munchin, quiet. Can you answer?
Destiny.
Double
There are
D
two warring
Destiny.
factions. There's a rebel-held territory.
I think he
and
calls
then
it
there are
breastity at
Ukrainian
one
military
point,
and
which is pretty
volunteer
funny.
militaries warring on the other
I don't know if
side.
I've ever heard
what
that
I'm
one.
saying and what the United Nations is saying is that 81.4% of the civilians killed over the last 3 years, we don't have all the numbers, but over the last 3 years,
I think it's
died in
actually the lack
rebel-held
of
territory.
downing.
And what Bitch Tits Bono doesn't
Bitch Tits
understand is
Bono.
that people are in their sovereignty.
I want to hear,
to defend their.
hear his answer.
Just like a man, his wife, and make sure
Haas, I want to hear.
I can't. The tiny tanky is too much for me. I just can't hear anything.
The tiny tanky.
Bitch Tits Bono doesn't and that people want to defend their land. Just like a man wants to defend his wife from not.
Oh shit,
Let's talk
here
about
it comes.
Steven's body later. Haas think we don't realize that.
Talk about his body. This is from Ice Age body.
Sorry about that.
Okay, you're
Oh yeah, but you can't read that.
Owned is from a fucking 32-year-old StarCraft player.
Dude, he doesn't even play
Literally has
StarCraft
nothing
anymore.
going for him in life. Yeah. A fucking 32-year-old grown man StarCraft player with fucking gynecomastia.
Okay, this one from Ryohan says, does yelling at
Literally built like an 11-year-old child.
Hold on, Haas.
Hold on to that comment.
This one coming in from Irvin says,
I was trying to do the
Irvin Rockman
melee.
says Russia has the worst
Interesting.
human trafficking problem of any country on earth. Are Haas and Jackson pro-child sex trafficking?
Are Destiny and Dylan Burns lowering the age of consent to 16 because
As Destiny's friend, Mr. Girl, Destiny has a pedophile community.
All right, let's go to the next one.
They're
Louis
kinda
Defends the
hot.
This one,
girl with art.
Louis remains,
Defends Mr. Girl.
He wants to deep.
Didn't they debate like 4
He wants
times?
to plat
only target
pedophiles.
people
Okay, yeah,
with,
that's
quote,
better.
Russian genes.
Pedo DGG.
No. Go ahead.
Literal pedo fuck.
Pedo
I
DGG.
didn't hear that.
Nobody heard it. It's impossible.
Jackson, do you
Pedo DGG.
Jackson, do you believe in chemical weapons designed to only target people with quote-unquote Russian genes? Really? That's what they say.
When did
That's
I say that?
completely irrelevant and immaterial to here because even
Okay,
if
so Jackson
I don't
says
think
he
they
didn't
even
say
said
that.
you.
Jackson never.
You're just asking.
Jackson-
Shoot,
asking them
shoot,
the
shoot,
question.
shoot.
Leave
There.
I think even Destiny and Dylan would admit that I never said that in the debate, and though they don't probably watch my streams, I can tell you I never
Shit.
said that in my life.
No.
Do you
I don't think
disavow
that-
when Haas said it then? Do you disavow
we're
the
just
Kremlin
asking
gremlin? Did you
He doesn't have to disavow it. He just isn't
disavow?
making the affirmative
Do
claim.
you
fucking
disavow?
bitch, tits, Bono, you little fucking
wanna
bitch.
know-
You fucking
Well, can I ask him then? Do you find the claim believable?
fucking
Okay.
it's his wife.
I think.
By other men.
I think.
I can't hear you. I can't. I'm sorry.
I want to know if you support the Moscow
How can I
mission statement.
The Moscow.
His child.
Wait, was that the end?
How
Like,
can
was
I
that the
insult
last
us?
enemy engagement? I just realized.
His child.
So we might have totally just not done
so
well at
weighted
all.
down this debate, Jackson. I'm so sorry.
I think that there are.
Yeah, we'll be
China
done with
and
this mission
Russia
if we-
at the United Nations.
Yeah,
have
it is.
Both expressed their concerns over chemical labs in Ukraine that get U.S. funding. There's several of them, but we don't really know what's going on there. And I think it would be. I don't think we can jump to conclusions as to what's happening there, except for what Russia and China have both said when they've expressed their concerns.
Which kids Bonnell bad destiny?
Not relevant.
Do
You appreciate your question. Cedar
is a little
says what?
32. Yeah, that's
Just so the
the
audience
end.
knows what's happening, James is right-click muting him, and Haas is
Yeah.
spam right-click on mute.
No
so
better.
he can keep
In
screaming.
fact, that might have even been worse.
Listen, Destiny, you can't hide of knowing and
Okay, it is
pain of knowing.
Holy shit.
You can't hide pain with your.
Inbred Red, we need you to shut the fuck up so you can finish the Q&A, dude.
Know your pain, Destiny.
And then he fucking...
Okay. This is a thank you. So,
Bro, you called me the StarCraft 2 program, you got like 400 APM.
Fucking
smashed
James
fucking
is
under-
like, please
You're
don't
fucking
provoke him
fucking-
anymore.
stop. This is what
You're gonna get fucking RSI, dude. You gotta slow down.
this one coming in from.
Anybody
Cedar
can
says,
buy me a
why
drink.
What are the panelists' thoughts on quote third? Is this a?
Trying to
I hope
think
this
which
isn't a
level.
troll. On third whole theory. No, that's.
Third whole theory.
Destiny, laugh through the pain.
Um,
Laugh through the pain of knowing.
I like this
Wait,
level.
what
This is
happened
an
to the real
iconic
theory? What did
level.
that have to do with?
Laugh through the pain, Destiny.
This is
Go on.
gonna. How much time do we
It
have?
refers to the tripolar
in this
vacuum
video?
left behind by the three nuclear powers: the United Kingdom, the United
Destiny,
States,
you're a fucking, you're nothing but a
and
fucking
the
bluff,
Soviet
Destiny.
Union.
You have no fucking substance, no meat and potatoes. You
Oh,
hide
yeah,
behind
we got
that.
like
I can see
10
the pain
minutes.
in your eyes, Bono. I can see the pain
Nah.
in your eyes. Just like
Let's see this.
Can I just say, you know who else doesn't have meat and
your
potatoes?
child, your child,
You know who else?
Destiny.
I can barely understand him anymore.
Like you.
You know who else doesn't have meat and potatoes? The Russian soldiers in Ukraine right now. Man, that's a lot of food shortage.
Yeah, that's fake.
It's fake news.
Fake news.
Prove it.
Okay, like. Just
Single
like,
so.
deep breath.
I can't hear anything.
But they don't have poop.
This one coming
Go
in
to
from.
Show any poop.
No, come on, Oz. How do you have so much energy? I was like.
Wait, this is the boat chase, isn't
Show
it?
the poop.
We can do that.
Says.
Yeah, let's do the boat
Stan
chase.
says, does Haas still think the Donbass region is in the north of Ukraine?
I never fucking said that in the first place. Shut the fuck up. Fucking
We
DDG
noted.
pedos.
Okay, this one coming in from
DGG
Constantine.
pedos.
Why does the East European countries? Why do the East European countries beg to be a part of NATO every time the Russians start shelling a foreign city? It's almost as if Russian aggression is driving countries to join NATO.
It's almost as if those countries
every
are
time-
called by
it's almost
far-right
Oh
nationalists.
my god. Yeah.
It's almost
Oh
as if
yeah.
every
Yep.
single time
Okay.
the West leads a coup or regime change operations in a Central or Eastern European country, they make great strides either in one of the four main steps in joining NATO when they have this coup government in place. Have you ever noticed that?
I just want to say we didn't establish that it was a U.S.-led coup. We certainly didn't establish that. And
We
I
more
also
than
like the
we
fact-
more than established.
Yeah.
that.
Wait. No, we never established that.
Established it 5 billion times.
Just for the record, Ukraine wasn't going to join NATO until the Crimean invasion happened.
What?
That statement.
That's
that
not
statement's
true.
changed.
What?
Absolutely.
Oh, you want to debate about that? We have evidence
Prime
to the
Minister,
contrary.
the Prime
Bitch,
Minister
Bonnell.
literally said.
Bitch, Bonnell. We have
literally
evidence to the
said-
contrary.
Literally
fuck?
said they were
Evidence to
not.
the-
They were not.
Are the trees getting in my way? Is that what's going on?
Do you know the 4 steps to join NATO for
Being given the green light by NATO
Destiny,
to join.
Destiny,
Oh, there.
Destiny,
Breastity.
Having an intention of joining.
Oh shit.
Evidence.
Whoa.
Haz, wait, I'm curious. I want to hear
That was cool.
Destiny's thoughts on this.
Gotta pull 'em back.
First of all, do you know the 4
Breastiny,
steps in
breastiny.
joining NATO and how many of those steps Ukraine has achieved? And also, do you know what
Oh, shit.
NATO said about Ukraine membership at the 2008 Bucharest before the Crimean referendum?
I don't care if they were given the green light in 2008.
Oh, fuck.
Yatsenyuk literally said,
Let him finish.
giving the green light polite.
But they didn't have an intention
to respond. Let him finish.
After the coup, the prime minister literally said that there were no plans on the table to join NATO. He literally said that. That was his stated position.
He said that.
What the fuck?
That changed once Russia invaded and annexed illegally the Crimean Peninsula.
Oh shit.
And that's why, and the other statements that countries have made about joining NATO have also changed as Russia has increased its aggression. That's why countries like Finland and Sweden are considering joining NATO, which, given what Russia's doing, seems to be pretty fair.
Yeah, because Russia's gonna...
Shut the fuck up. I'll respond to that. First of all, in 2008 at the Bucharest summit, NATO declared that Ukraine could become a member state of NATO upon further deliberations and accession talks. But what I do want to say is, you said that after the 2014 coup, they had no intent to join NATO. In 2017, the Ukrainian parliament adopted legislation reinstating membership in NATO as a strategic foreign and security.
What happened between 2014 and 2017?
Of course, this fucking thing.
In 2019, a course.
Yeah, just keep making fun of his voice. That's a good argument.
You sound like a little bitch. Okay. You've always sounded...
No, wait. What? Yeah, what? Why would
Like how Max is angrily looking at the debate. It's pretty funny.
What happened after 2014 in eastern Ukraine? We could go there too.
No, let's go exactly to what I said. Do you deny that the prime minister literally said that they were not seeking
trade union hall match?
They were not. Okay, yeah. Pivot. Okay.
Pivot.
You're the one pivoting.
I'm not pivoting. I made it very clear.
Destiny, what was Maidan about? What was the fucking Maidan about? They wanted to fucking join NATO, you dumb fuck. That was before any fucking...
No, it wasn't about joining NATO. It was about joining...
It was about the EU and NATO as a whole. They wanted to turn... It was an anti-Russian fucking...
No.
They had every intention to join NATO by then.
It was not about joining NATO. It was about European Union trade deals.
It was about joining the West in general.
Can you mute the Holodomor Hobbit again, please?
Shit.
It was about... It was about...
The Holodomor Hobbit.
Deadbeat Destiny. Gonna keep at the...
Oh shit.
James,
Nice.
I'm trying so hard, man. Please.
Laugh through the...
Destiny.
Hey, James!
Wait, it was my turn. Wait, no.
Oh shit, now he's getting mad at James.
Wait.
No,
You don't need him to insult me, but you only need me. Why don't you fucking tell him...
There we go. Got it.
Okay, so there's two things
You
I want
don't
to...
mute him when he insults me. I'm gonna go for fucking beat.
I'm not insulting you right now. I'm trying to... I'm trying to... I just want to say something.
If we were insulting you, okay, Vladimir the Virgin, we'd be
Vladimir the Virgin.
I'm not high enough for this.
Go ahead, Dylan.
Okay, so I would like to say that the Euromaidan protests it started because Yanukovych pulled out of the negotiations to join the EU, and then once the protest movement started, then it expanded to like anti-corruption and a lot of other issues as well. And there were people on the ground, not all of them. The Euromaidan protests were extremely diverse, but some of them did want to join NATO. But that doesn't mean it started because of that. It started once Yanukovych pulled out of EU negotiations. And the second thing I wanted to bring up about NATO was that after the Russian invasion, the regime change war they started in Ukraine, now Finland, the first time in human history, the majority of Finnish people want to join NATO. Putin has gifted NATO something. He has gifted them legitimacy in the modern age, where there was tons of
legitimacy.
People like, I don't know about joining.
Why does it even exist?
Now, why
and they're gonna put nukes in Venezuela. Good luck with that. Russia's gonna put nukes in Venezuela. Good luck with it.
Oh fuck.
What is that?
Yeah. You expand NATO to Finland, then Russia's gonna make military pacts with Cuba and Venezuela all over the fucking world against the U.S. empire. Good luck with that.
Russia can't even get its four-wheel trucks into fucking eastern Ukraine. I don't think we have to worry about
really? Where's the evidence for that? Do you have any evidence for that? There's no fucking proof of that there's a logistical disaster. It's all fucking made up on Twitter, AstroTurf fake news. We've debunked it on my stream several fucking times.
It's all AstroTurf fake news.
Wait, Destiny, I know you love having your mouth open because you like soying out.
Oh, here we go. Insert the thumbnail.
Keep opening your mouth. Soy mouth.
Soy.
Mute this Redditor's microphone.
Oh,
Jesus.
Haz, I'm gonna ask if you want. I can send you pictures of tire rot amongst
Keep open.
Okay.
Pictures of what?
Tire rot. You know when if you don't do proper maintenance on trucks, the tires will rot out, and that's a huge issue.
Show us the proof.
Show us
logistical disaster.
Well, I'm not saying logistics. I'm talking about tire rot right now. Logistics is another issue.
Show us the widespread tire rot.
The widespread tire. I can give you examples of tire rot, but until we find out do a proper investigation, we're not gonna have.
No.
Because
no, you're not listening. If any of the vehicles invading,
here we go. This is the
tire rot, that means
fucking crazy crazy
done on those vehicles.
thing where we go up.
Yes, if any of them, because when you talk about when you do maintenance on these vehicles, you don't do it like one at a time. You do maintenance like you circle maintenance.
If there's a mistake,
okay, I give up.
James, why are you muting me?
Talking when I mean, sorry, not
because you never give me a chance to say anything.
Well, because you keep just talking over people.
This whole fucking time, and I didn't get to say shit.
He's the Moscow mute, dude. It's not fair over here.
The Moscow
That doesn't fucking mean anything.
Well, okay. I want to say thanks, folks, so much.
Yeah.
Fucking biased moderator.
You're a
James.
biased moderator.
He keeps fucking insulting me, talking over me. You didn't mute him once. You didn't mute this little fucking gnome.
This gnome. Yeah, he was muted.
The gnome Destiny once.
You gnome.
Yeah, I was muted.
You gnome. Fuck.
Can we actually prove, James? James, real talk. Can you prove right now that you haven't received any of that $5 billion that was marked to Ukraine? Are you part of the anti-Ukraine?
Passive aggressive bitch ass fucking pedo nerds find funny. Shut the fuck up, little bitch.
Bitch ass pedo.
Recognize your sense of humor, except pedos like Mr. Girl.
Pedos.
You're fucking passive aggressive.
Wow, there's like 4 people in that little boat.
Sense of fucking StarCraft humor, you little bitch.
Okay.
Fucking laughing, Destiny, you passive aggressive little bitch. Destiny, let me air your laundry, Destiny.
I love how Destiny looks like he's tearing up because he's just laughing so hard.
Yeah, let me air your dirty laundry, Destiny, you motherfucker.
Good stuff. Want to say, folks, thanks so much for tuning in. Our guests are linked in the description, and want to say thank you so much for all of your super chats. We've raised hundreds of dollars tonight for Worldwide Orphans, which is the charity watchdog evaluation.
Bitch tits Bonnell. Bitch tits Bonnell.
He's talking over the fucking charity. Yeah.
Are you gonna let Ivan the incel over here make fun of me like this, James?
Dude.
Destiny, Destiny, you literally let your wife sleep with other men. You're fucking living insult. You're a 32-year-old cuck, and you're talking about incels.
32-year-old cuck.
Incels when you're a literal cuck. Destiny, you failed.
Okay, want to say thanks, everybody?
Destiny, the girls you failed to get with, talk to me, you little bitch.
Please give me some names, dude.
Keep something about the reasonable from me.
The list is too long.
Wow, it's still going. Still talking over everyone.
Take care, everybody. And thanks so much for.
There's no bonus round. We're done.
We'll put the receipt on the social tab in the YouTube community tab. Want to say thanks so much, and that's something that no matter where we stand on the war, that's something we all agree on.
Except for Haas, who will talk over.
Orphans around the world, and so again, we'll share that donation receipt on the YouTube social page. Thanks everybody, and we'll see you next time.
Shit. Okay. We'll let the autoplay take us. Actually, wait. Fuck. Not this one. No, I wanted... We could continue this one, yeah. Here we go. Once it loads.
I think that specifically was because of, like, relationshipy stuff. So
okay, I just
so
on a macro
volume's
level,
different.
I was excited to have this conversation because you always say like such broad, stupid shit about me on Twitter, and I thought it'd be interesting to have.
Okay, let's go.
About you on Twitter.
Like the fact that I'd be a Republican next election cycle, like stupid shit like
that was
right?
a joke. I'm sorry we can't.
Oh, that was a joke. But me saying I don't like them because fuck them, that wasn't a joke. That was super.
Do you want my actual take on this? Do you want my
no,
actual?
not really, because you're not going to give me any, right? So
That's
my issue
cool.
was
what did I just offer to? What are you talking about?
My issue is that you always like speak in such. Everybody always has these broad things, and I'm like, wow, I get to confront somebody on like actual harassment issues with my community. Maybe it'll be an interesting conversation.
Whoa, shit!
I'm actually curious. Like, what are things you think that I could do to better my community, better my behavior? But instead, it's always like this.
Sometimes this
from
can be
scenario
a
to scenario to scenario.
pain.
You don't even have all the context here. You actually thought that you could bring up Anna to impeach my character, or that you could bring up Bad Bunny and Denims, two people that have been abjectly horrible to me for years
the
as
boat
a way to like
movement
impeach my character.
Caused me to,
you don't know because you don't know because you don't know. You have no idea. That's the problem. But if you want, again, now when I say if you want to go down these roads, you can, because I am fully justified in hating both of these people, and they both hate me, and they wouldn't even deny that. They go, yeah, he hates me for good reasons, and I say, yeah, I hate them for good reasons. Absolutely.
I really disagree.
Really, with which one?
Nice.
With the part where you said that they would think it's reasonable for the way that you interact with them.
I think that was better than the previous score. I could be wrong.
Sure, but which one do you think is? Which one do you think?
But with that, we are going to slowly start to wrap up the stream, I think. Because there's some shit I have to do, and it's tomorrow. So we'll let it get to the menu here. Alright. Max Payne's bald head. That's a good shot to end it on. So, that was that. What a crazy fucking video. Yeah. I think that'll about do it. Now, for real, I won't be able to stream for the next, week. I just want to squeeze this one in because it's timely and it's funny. But yeah, I think that'll about do it. Stay tuned for more streams. We'll see what platform I stream on. It kind of depends on the circumstance. Our boy Pepe Ladi is banned on Twitch, so I can't stream that on Twitch. But yeah, I mean, I appreciate the variety sometimes, you know. It's fun to stream on different platforms. Get different stuff going on. But yeah, thanks so much for tuning in. Be sure to check out if you're watching it on demand or live, either way, much appreciated. Much love. Peace out. And we'll see you on the next stream, whenever that is. Peace. Oh, you know what? We should probably do an overview. I guess the overview, the fake out, the post-credits scene, is that... Hold on, let me just mute this. There we go. The post-credits scene, right? Is that Haas is a doofus. Yeah. Haas is not very bright and shouts over people. The pro-Russian side seems to do this a lot, and that includes Hinkle, or Tinkle, or whatever the fuck you want to call him. And yeah, it's just a good meme because it's evolved into everyone shouting at each other and their mics peaking, and it's a total shit show, which is kind of funny. It started out semi-productive. You know, Destiny and Haas went in guns blazing. But yeah, anyway, that's my key takeaways, so I think that'll about do it. We should probably call this because I need to do other shit. And it is tomorrow, as I've said. So, happy hump day. We're almost through the week. And yeah, peace out.